Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we discuss all the latest in pop culture, news, gaming news, TV and movie reviews, and just a lot of topics that are just hot topics, things that people are discussing now. It's a nice conversation that I have. I am your host, Price of Reason, and this is my co host here, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Hello, hello. I'm doing well. Been a surprisingly busy week for coming up on a holiday, but it's all right. Spending time with family and getting ready to do some traveling here over the next couple days. So yeah, it's going
Yeah,
well.
it's that time. It's already the holidays. Kind of strange how quickly time is flying,
Oh
right?
yeah, it doesn't seem possible. I'm looking at things and I'm going like, oh yeah, uh, yeah. It's been like a year since I did that last time. That's messed up. It doesn't seem
Yeah,
like a year will have passed by now, but yeah,
it's
wow.
strange that some things seem to go by quickly, and then some things seem to go by slowly.
Very slowly.
Time is a strange
Yes.
thing. But
Yeah.
speaking of time, and I don't know, this just happened. Did you see that Harris released a video?
I did not. I had seen some stuff about, oh, she's wanting to do this, she's going to do that, or whatever. She wants to run for governor and all sorts of stuff. I had seen some stuff earlier about that, but no, I hadn't seen a video.
Basically, it started off that initially there was the election, and then she, of course, didn't win that night, but she kind of went home and didn't want to give a speech, which was kind of strange. And only maybe the next day she gave a speech. Uh, I would say that I looked at this video and I really don't. I'm not trying to personally attack her or anything like that. That's really not what I do. But I will say that she looks very different in this video than she did on the campaign. There's different people joking around and saying things, but let me show you what I mean. Let me try to find this video. I don't know if people have seen it.
Mm.
There's like a shorter video going around on Twitter, but then I found actually the source, which is like a longer one. Let me see if I can find it. She has okay, I found it. Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. Grassroots call with Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. Are you ready?
Hmm.
Okay. Let me see. I may speed it up a bit because why not? You,
Anytime I don't have to spend with Tim Waltz is good time. Oh, it's not showing up here.
you didn't hear anything at all?
No, it's not presenting. I don't think.
Okay. Sorry
Yeah.
about it.
There you go. There you go.
Tell me if you can hear him.
Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yep.
Could you
Sounds
hear?
good.
You could hear him. Okay.
Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone. To everyone who's on the call, I can't express my deep gratitude to you. Personally, of being on this ticket was the privilege of a lifetime to be with Vice President Harris. But as an American, to see you out there and to see the work that you did, to know that you put your heart, your soul, your time, your talent, your
It sped him
treasure
up.
into something bigger than yourselves, the promise of this country, a place where everyone belongs, where no one needs to go hungry or be unsheltered, and where differences of opinion can be celebrated and differences of ideas. And you put that out there and you worked hard for it. And for that, I'm forever grateful. I also recognize the emotions you're going through. And I share those with you. As the vice president often says, we weren't running against something, we were running for something. And to watch the joy, the vision, the compassion, the decency that the vice president brought to this, and that each and every one of you reflected every place we went, the caring and the sense of joy. I know it's incredibly disappointing now. And look, candidly, it's a bit scary because there's a very different vision that's being put out there. But now,
I don't know. I'm not used to this. Usually, when somebody loses, I know some could argue, well, Trump lost in 2020 and he didn't accept the loss, but I think that in that case, however you feel about it, the way that they did the election there were things being done there that had never been done before, and with all that mail-in stuff, there was
Hmm.
a lot of strange things that happened there. To say exactly, what happened there, 100%. I don't know if I'll ever for sure know. I think that there was just a huge mess there,
Yeah.
and in this case, though, I don't think it's not being contested or anything. I think that the landslide that he won was so big that really there wasn't even a place to argue. In his situation, then there were a few places with a lot of electoral votes that, for like 1,000 votes that maybe somebody found in the middle of the night. That was the difference between him winning and losing. So I felt that it was more dramatic. In this case, I feel like they lost. I don't know what it is that they're babbling about. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they've done their bit, and are they suggesting that we're going to see more of them?
I sure hope not, but that's the way politicians are. They just keep popping back up.
I guess so. So let's just hear a little bit more. But he's just babbling for sure.
More than ever, we need the light to shine through. We need to be able to be that hope for the neighbor who's really wondering. We need to be that anchor for the folks who are wondering what's next. And each of you did the work. You took time out of your busy lives and you continue to do it. And it makes a difference. On the campaign trail, I would ask, there will be a day of reckoning when it will be asked, what did you do during the 2024 campaign? Well, I know the people on this call can say everything they possibly could. And for that, as an American, I'm incredibly grateful. And I mentioned that just yesterday, the product of the things the vice president fought for and the things that she got done. We had the final pot of money from the American Rescue Plan that we were able to put $5 million here in Minnesota into food assistance for hungry families during this holiday season. That's the type of stuff you are fighting for. That's the type of things that make a difference. And those things are just as important now as they were before Election Day. And so I hope all of you take care of yourselves, take care of your families, find the place in your community.
Didn't they make $1 billion disappear? I mean, not to be a jerk here, but I mean, what's he babbling about?
Well, he's talking about the American Rescue Plan. That was passed in 2021. That was $2 trillion in economic stimulus, and there's a ton of it that hasn't been used. So it was just, instead of going back and, to the taxpayers because it hasn't been used, no, we're going to find some way to spend it, right?
I mean, it's always nice to give people that are, poor in the holiday, but I just feel like this is out of left field. I don't even know what all I know is that they made a lot of money disappear, and people are saying from their own camp that nobody knows where the money went. And he's like, we just gave all this money to the poor people, but who's this we?
Mm-hmm.
To heal both yourselves and your community. And then when you're ready to get back in this fight, as it continues on. And I know that I've said it often on the campaign trail, I'm preaching to the choir. I couldn't be prouder to be with a choir that's on this call. You did everything that was asked. I also would have to say, I think all of us saw the possibility. And I know there's a bit of a feeling of loss because we saw what a real leader looks like. We watched a speech on the Ellipse the week before the election where Vice President Harris delivered on the best of America.
I don't know if we saw what a real leader looks like. I don't know where he's going with this.
She delivered the best of our better angels. She delivered a vision where all of us mattered. She did it with grace and dignity and continued to do that every single day. She is still in this fight. She is doing it every single day. She is not done with her current job. And she's not done being part of it with all of you. And as I said, personally, it was a privilege to be on this ticket. It was a personal privilege to be able to become friends with an incredible leader, with someone who was willing to take on some of the toughest fights and continues to do so. And I would just ask all of you to join me in welcoming our Vice President, Kamala Harris.
Now, before we go into that, I just want to say one thing, because I like to be objective. She really had an uphill battle, regardless of what I think about her or politics or anything like that. Getting rid of Joe Biden and giving her 100 days to go up against Trump, who had been running a very well thought out campaign and doing it for a number of years already. I think that in and of itself was already an uphill battle. But she did have a lot of money. She did have the mainstream media. She did have celebrities. She had a lot of things working for her, and she ended up losing. It couldn't have been easy. No matter what, it wouldn't have been an easy fight for her, I think.
No, I don't think it would necessarily have been easy for anyone. I also think at the time, however, the Democrats were maybe just a little bit full of themselves, thinking that surely anyone who isn't Biden could beat Trump without any effort whatsoever. It doesn't matter who he put up there. Right.
They surely underestimated him. And I think that the main thing that they underestimated, and again, here, people that know us, I try to give the most objective analysis of things. I don't just always try to find people and just go on the attack or anything, but I'm saying from the second that there was that whole 2020 thing that happened with the election, I feel like this guy, Trump, knew from that day that he's running again, and he was really, really working. You can say whatever you want. The guy was doing rally after rally, talking hours after hours, meeting with every podcaster, with every group. It's easy to dismiss his achievement, but it's not just, people are looking for easy reasons now. Oh, it's Elon Musk, it's this, it's that. All of these things may have contributed, but I think that he really worked. He looked at which areas maybe he could strengthen himself, which communities he can strengthen his outreach to, and he did it. You know what I'm saying? I think that even we were
Mhm.
talking leading up to the election, there, and I told you this, that for me it was a huge sign that there was that something like female black journalists organization or something that he was something like that, and he went and he talked to them. That
Sure, yeah.
the fact that he went there and sat there for a few hours and talked to them, it may have looked like something almost surreal when you looked at it, but he didn't care. He was going to every single place that he could go talk, and I think that he was really thinking to himself how he could reach new people, how he could maybe break some of the mainstream media narrative against him. Surely the X thing helped him, but I don't think that it's just X. It had to have been a lot of different things together, and he was working on it for a few years, and she had 100 days, and yes, I think that they were overconfident, and just like when what do they say, the higher the thing, the bigger they fall. What's
Yeah.
the saying I'm
The
looking
just
for?
the bigger they are, the harder they fall, but,
Right, and
yeah,
I think that this overconfidence, and I think that people were also whispering in her ear all this stuff, and she was getting really overconfident, and I'm telling you all of this because now I'm about to show you what she looks like. There is something about her that looks off, and tell me if I'm wrong or not. Are you ready?
go for it.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Back at you, brother. You are such an extraordinary leader, and we have become lifelong friends. I just, in front of everyone, I want to thank you, Tim. You lead with courage. You lead with heart. You see the people. You care about the people. You believe in uplifting the dignity to which all people are entitled, and you do it and you have a sense of fun when you're doing it. But you are an extraordinary leader, and obviously the people of Minnesota are very, very lucky to have you there. But you are a national leader and a dear friend, and thank you. Noel, thank you for your work in Pennsylvania and all that you did for our campaign. And let me just say to everyone on this call, I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so thankful to you. I'm thankful for your love of our country and your willingness to put the work into it. I'm thankful for the faith that you put in me and Governor Walz and our team. And I am thankful because I know your character is such that you're not going to get knocked down. And you're in this fight. And you're in it for all the right reasons. And I know that about you. It's why you're part of this call right now and all the work that you did over those 107 days and even before. That's your nature. And the outcome of this election obviously is not what we wanted. It is not what we worked so hard for. But I am proud of the race we ran. And your role in this was critical. What we did in 107 days was unprecedented. Think about the coalition that we built. And we were so intentional about that. You would hear me talk about it all the time. Being a daughter of parents who are active in the civil rights movement, I know and believe that the best movements that are about progress in our country mean that it's leaders that we are dedicated to the coalition, to bringing people together that seemingly have nothing in common, but have everything in common. A coalition where we bring people together based on a deep love of our country and our understanding that the strength of our country will be a function of our willingness to put in the work, and that we will do that work with a sense of joy, yes, with a sense of work ethic and understanding it's going to be hard, but it's good work. It's good work to be engaged in a collective fight for America's future. And it means so much to me and to Governor Walz that you knocked on doors, you called friends, you called in favors. You said, hey, I showed up at your softball game. Now I need you to show up at the campaign office. You put in the time. It was personal for you. And you gave all that you could to support our campaign. Because of your efforts, get this, we raised an historic $1.4 billion, almost $1.5 billion from
Oh,
grassroots supporters.
We raised all that money, but we're still $20 million in the hole.
It's very strange because I think they're still asking for people to give them money. So
Yes, so
is
they
this
can make up the $20 million they overspent when they
that,
had a historically funded campaign. They spent
I mean,
so much money that they still owe.
right, and the thing is, she's like, it's unprecedented. We had 1.5. That is a lot of money. Trump spent a lot less than you, and he spent a lot smarter. There's really
Absolutely,
there's really
no, there's
nothing to
no
say.
question.
Yeah, there's really nothing to say. They had much more money than he did. They had everything seemingly line up for them, and they didn't pull it off. But what I wanted to tell you, and I think I'm going to go ahead and say something about myself that I think it's pretty fair. I'm pretty good at sort of reading body language and analyzing things. And even though she's saying the right things, if you really look into her eyes, this is just my opinion. She looks devastated.
Yeah, she she
She looks.
honestly
She
looks like
doesn't look good.
she honestly looks like she might not be all there.
She
Um,
doesn't look good at all. I mean, there were some things on Twitter that I saw that people were really like, joking, in the sense, or not joking, saying that she looks like maybe she had a beverage of sorts before
It's a
speaking, or
a little perhaps a little puffy in the face, and now the lighting in that room is not doing her any favors. But, maybe looking a little puffy, like somebody who might have had a few too many over the last few weeks?
yeah, I mean, it kind
Yeah.
of. I don't want to jump to conclusions and say that
Oh,
I know for sure, but I will say one thing. She is saying one thing, but her vibe and her energy is saying something else. At minimum, forget about if she possibly speculation here, had a drink or not, or whatever it is that people are saying. You could tell that she's not. She's doing this now because she has to, but you could tell that in her energy that she doesn't want to be there, really. But let's see what else she has to say. And it comes off once again, even after all of this, it comes off as very kind of mechanical. She's trying to be a little more personal, thank the people for making an effort and all that stuff. But I don't know. Also, it's kind of, before I go on, it's kind of highly irregular. I mean, sometimes you lose. That's it. Well, what are you gonna do?
mhm. Yep.
alone, the most in presidential campaign history. Nearly 8 million donors contributed an average donation of about $56 to fuel our people-powered campaign. And understand that the work that we did included the work that so many of you here did, which is to talk to first-time voters. Many of you are first-time voters, and to talk about how being involved can make a difference, and that remains true. And that's one of the pieces that I just want us to please take away, that our fight for freedom and for opportunity and for the promise of America, it included, for example, nearly almost 4 million first-time contributors to our campaign because of the work you did of helping people know that they can be engaged and that they're not outside, that they're inside, that we're all.
What does all of this matter? So basically, all these people contributed money. She had 1.5 billion, and not only did she lose, now she's missing money. I,
Yeah.
do you think this is all just something that they want to just get more money from people? Well, why are they doing this now?
in this together. And that work continues.
Perhaps
The work
they
must
want more. Well, I'm sure they want more money, but because they have like a $20 million debt they have to pay off. But yeah, I think it's also just trying to keep their coalition together, trying to assure people that we're not out of the fight just yet, even though obviously they're not going to be, and no one's going to be in the fight for another
I think
3
the fight
years.
is pretty
So
much over. And
yeah,
I don't know what fight they're talking about. I think that this is done. And I think she already did her concession speech, whatever that was. I guess I'm kind of confused as to what this is, because this is being set up as a very kind of official speech. She brought Walls. Now she's talking. I'm trying to think in my memory if this was very common that in a situation like this we see these type of things. Is this common or not? I'm trying to remember.
well, I
I
mean,
don't really.
just kind of going back and talking to their own supporters. I think that's not uncommon, but of course, just posting it live on YouTube is maybe a little weird.
Maybe posting something on YouTube just is something that I'm not used to. I don't know. It was just kind of strange, but maybe you're right. But let's see what she says.
continues of reminding ourselves that we have an ability to stay engaged in a way that will make a difference. The work that you all did is going to have lasting effect. Again, I'll say,
No.
the election didn't turn out like we.
Yeah, I don't know if lasting effects, but lasting effects how? Yes,
Um,
sir.
uh, yeah, you got me. I have no idea what lasting effects their movement might have. The various people that were involved. I have no idea
I actually
what
think that
lasting effects
all
they're
the
actually going to be
people
building from it.
all the people that were heavily in gambling on her or heavily invested in her, I think that they're all just kind of having meltdowns now. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know if this
Well,
is this like to help the people with the meltdowns? Is this the
possibly, reassure them, try to talk them off the edge. But if there's any lasting effect of this campaign, it's that, well, frankly, Donald Trump is not just been reelected; he is ascendant. He is coming into office, and they are going to be controlling both the House and the Senate. They're going to be able to do just about anything they want.
right? It's like
Obviously,
it's a crushing defeat. And
it's
again, I'm
yeah.
not saying this. It's not that I'm trying to throw salt on her wounds. I'm just trying to be, which I usually am, like an objective observer here. It's a crushing defeat. Like I don't know what all this like. It's such an achievement, but I'm trying to understand what the achievement is. But let's see
Yeah.
what else she has to say. And do you agree that she looks like she's not well?
Yeah, honestly, it looks like her left eye's a little droopy. Not sure what that's all about, but
I can actually help you with that. This is my opinion, and again, this is me reading people and whatever. That is a very telling sign. I know that some people are like, "Oh, maybe she had a drink," but I think that eye is often a way that you can tell like a person's emotion.
mhm.
You know, maybe you have some people that can just kind of block it out, and you can't tell what they're feeling. But in her case, something about that eye really gives me the feeling that she is super depressed. That's the truth.
I wouldn't surprise me. There's been a lot of people who have been wondering, if she's been on various different types of meds for for various conditions,
It's possible.
anxiety meds, depression meds, potentially. There's no telling, but wondering if that wasn't the case, just from the way she acts in certain situations and the way she, the uncontrolled laughter,
Right, I mean, the
like
uncontrolled laughter always gave me the impression that she has,
it's
the
a
thing with
nervous tick, I
it's a
think.
nervous
Yeah.
tick. The thing with Trump is that in addition to his, basically running a campaign since about 2020 until him, winning, which is a really lengthy campaign in which he gave it a lot of thought and really worked on it, with time and tools that she didn't have. In addition, he also was the president before, so he has a certain kind of he's relaxed. He's more relaxed. He's been in this position before. The other thing is that prior to being president, he's been this kind of public persona for decades, for many decades. So I think that he's the type of guy that he's not phased by anything. Some journalist pops up, this person pops up, they say this, they say that, he says whatever, you know what I mean, off the cuff. He just says whatever he wants. He keeps walking. He doesn't care. He's not like really even filtered for good and for bad. He's not filtered. He just says whatever he says. He doesn't ever seem to have that kind of anxiety. uh, the only thing that I've seen, and I'll give her that this is the one thing she accomplished in that debate against him, is that there's certain things that, like, if you like annoy him, like a little bit with his ego, he can get annoyed. And I feel like in that debate against him, like she said a few things. She, as I told you before, didn't have almost any substance at all in what she was saying in the debate, but she knew how to kind of annoy him. And that she actually managed to do. But aside from like annoying him and like, pressing a few buttons, generally speaking, he doesn't get phased very easily. You know, he doesn't have that anxiety that I think that she has.
No, no, he does have a tendency to go off script, kind of wander off a little bit, as he calls it, the weave. Kind of wandering off and then coming back
Right.
and stuff. He does have tendencies to do that, but yeah, she definitely was able to get under his skin and throw him off. Put him
That may be her only
get to his
achievement.
ego and make him defensive.
That may be
Yeah.
her only achievement. There was a moment because she was riding the positive, quote unquote, even if it's manufactured by the mainstream media. Biden is out. She's younger. She's more refreshed. I don't know what. And then they really built her up. She went to that debate. She kind of probably she was coached to do this. I don't want to say because I don't know if she had that earphone in her ear or I don't know what. But I mean, the type of people around her probably told her, "We know the kind of buttons you can press to annoy him. Just do this. Even if you say nothing of value, just make sure to press those buttons." And she pressed them. But that is maybe the only like really achievement she had in the campaign. From that moment, it was really downhill because I'll give him one thing, that after that debate, which wasn't the best for him, I feel like he really made an effort to make up that ground.
Oh no, absolutely.
He
Yeah.
wasn't he understood, and he really like stepped up his game, whereas I think that they went into this kind of false sense of security where in their mainstream media circles they were already crowning her the winner, and I think that that was a mistake. Like you were saying, they were kind of a bit full of themselves and really overconfident, and I think that they gave her this overconfident feeling, and maybe they shouldn't have. But let's see
Yep.
what it says.
We wanted it to. Certainly not as we planned for it to. But understand that the work we put into it was about empowering people. That's the spirit with the work we did. Our spirit and our work was about saying that it is a strength that we each have to lift people up as opposed to beating people down. It is a strength we have that has lasting effect. So all that work that you did that was about engaging with other people, engaging with perfect strangers and in their face seeing a neighbor, that has lasting effect. It reminds people that there are leaders like you who care and will bring us together. And sometimes in the darkest moments, people lose faith in that. Are there people out there that feel that way? And you reminded people that yes, there are, and there are a lot of us. And that strength cannot be taken from us. That is our strength. It cannot be taken from us. So listen, as I said the day after the election, I still strongly believe the light of America's promise will burn bright as long as we never give up and we keep fighting. And the fight that fueled our campaign, a fight for freedom and opportunity, that did not end on November 5th. A fight for the dignity of all people, that did not end on November 5th. A fight for
I mean, were they really fighting for those things? They sure didn't give that impression, but okay.
Yeah.
the future, a future in which all people receive the promise of America? No. A fight that is about a fight for the ideals of our nation, the ideals that reflect the promise of America, that fight's not.
I mean, I feel like they were so extreme in their opinions that they alienated. They had a situation. Let's not lose sight of this. They had a situation where Robert F. Kennedy said, "Okay, I'm done with you guys. I'm going to the other side." And you had Tulsi Gabbard doing the same thing. Also, one of their better female representatives in their camp.
Mhm.
She's a woman. She's been in the army. She actually has had a career there. She's seems like a well put together woman who actually in a debate with Kamala demolished her a while back, whenever that was. I mean, I don't know. It's like they alienated people that were at their own party. And I don't know how they keep talking about all this inclusivity if the people of their own party didn't want to be with them, especially ones that were seen as a bit more moderate.
Yeah.
I think that Robert F. Kennedy and Gabbard were ones that were more moderate left. They weren't hard left. And if you chase those guys out, then I don't know how inclusive you're being. Just my opinion, of course.
Well,
not over.
that's yeah. I think that's been the story of what we sort of the post-mortem after this election is looking at the Democratic Party and realizing that all those memes about them shifting further and further left and leaving all of these people on the left behind, where people who used to be centrists or left of center now are look like they're right leaning or whatever because they've been left behind by this massive progressive shift to the left, and they were left politically homeless. That's where you found a lot of those people like RFK, like Tulsi Gabbard, who said, I've been a Democrat, I've been a progressive for a long time, but I cannot follow you where you're going. I can't do this. Now Tulsi Gabbard, she's, shifted over to being a Republican. You've got a lot of other people who have felt politically homeless for years at this point, and it's only gotten worse. And I think this campaign really finally brought a lot of people to realize that that party no longer represented them anymore. And so
even Elon Musk himself used to be, the darling of the left, really, with his electric vehicles and all that stuff. They pushed him away also.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and now they're absolutely vindictive.
Right. And we'll get to that because there's a lot of interesting development. Now he's public enemy number one, but I think that this speech is very kind of, of course it's generic, but in addition to being generic, I don't think it's really acknowledging the mistakes that they made. I think that whatever it is that they're doing, not that I'm not saying that I'm supposed to give them advice how to fix their own party, but I'm saying if they were smart, they'd be sitting now and thinking to themselves, maybe we overdid it. but this video doesn't give me that impression, I guess.
Yeah. And we do have a
Look,
super chat. We do have a super chat from the Dead Man for $4.99. Thank you, the Dead Man. We appreciate it. It says Jack Smith dropped the charges against Trump. That alone should tell you how full of shit they were. Sorry, Bryce.
No, that's first of all, thank you for the super chat, Dead Man. And yeah, I mean, he kept on talking a big game. The guy won, and very quickly he's he seems to be reversing course on that whole thing. Of course, he tried to make it no, I had a great case. We would have won it, but what can I do? I have to whatever. But I don't know. I think that there's to me, it's pretty clear
Yeah.
that the amount of lawsuits that they tried to pile up on Trump was something that was over the top. And they also did it in a time where if you they tried to do it in a time that was strategic exactly when he was running. Meaning, if it was so important to them, they could have done it before, but no, they waited patiently to do it exactly in a way that would supposedly harm him. And at the end, it didn't end up working out for them. I think that sometimes there is some kind of strange karma in the world. You focus so much on something, and you put so much energy into it, and maybe it's something that's more of a negative. Uh, I think that the party spent too much time thinking, oh, like we don't like that guy. Let's explain to everybody how much we don't like him. But they really didn't suggest anything else. They weren't saying, okay, well, this is what we want to do. That's great. Mainly, what they were just saying that they don't like him, and that's not a strong enough platform to run on.
Yeah. Hate is a really strong emotion. Anger is a really strong emotion, and it will motivate people. The problem is it's not sustainable. You can't do that long term. You can't keep people angry, can't keep people stirred up, and you can't keep that same level of emotion, that really high level of emotion, that hate. You just can't do it. And they've been doing it with Trump. That's their only move against him, more or less. And they've been trying to do that for 10 years. This, it's wild, right? Maybe not 10 years, it's 7 years, whatever. But that's their only move has been we're gonna talk about how much we hate him.
You know, and
And
also,
eventually it just peters out.
you know those kind of TV shows where the father tells the daughter like, "Oh, I don't like this guy. You shouldn't date him," and then like that's the guy that she wants to date. I feel like these guys kept talking 24/7 all the time, like why Trump is the worst thing ever. That like it somehow caused an opposite effect that people are like, "Oh, like maybe." And the thing is, I don't even know if he's good or not, but it doesn't even matter. They just like they said what they said, and people are like, "Oh, if they don't like him so much, maybe he's all right." You know what I mean? I honestly
Well,
think
there's that, and then there's the feeling that they've been told this so many times,
yes,
and they've heard this from so many different sources, and then when they actually get to see something of Trump, I think that assassination attempt thoroughly humanized him for a lot of people. They
I
saw what
agree.
happened, they saw his reaction, they saw what happened in the crowd, they saw the absolutely vile human beings who were like wishing death on not just him, but people in the crowd. They
Right,
were, and I think a lot of people said, "Whoa, this is weird." Like
right,
the way that these people are acting because he didn't die.
right.
This is weird. And so you
It
started to
looks
see, I
like an
think.
illness at that point. Like like him or not. I mean, the guy is a former president. He's talking. What you want him to? You're wishing for that kind of stuff
Yeah.
upon him,
Yeah. Well,
and you're sad that somebody didn't succeed. And the thing is that some of those people that were commenting, they were completely ignoring, like you said, that there were just innocent bystanders that actually were killed in that attack.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
nothing mattered as long as they can just say how much they dislike and how much they wanted it and all that stuff. It was weird, and I think that they didn't realize at that moment that how wrong they were behaving.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
were seemingly some news networks that tried to be a little okay for like 5 minutes, but many of these kind of quote unquote celebrities weren't. And
Well,
yeah,
let's remember they took Morning Joe off the air the next day because they could not trust them to not say awful things
right,
on their show the next morning. So, but yeah, they, that I think that really started for a lot of people who were sort of in the middle, who weren't really sure. They kept hearing all this stuff. Oh, he's Mustache Man, whatever. But they kept hearing all of this stuff. But then they saw this happen, and they saw the reactions from different sides, and I think that really opened just a crack in the door for people to start wondering. I want is this really who he is? Is that where? Because that's not who I saw. I didn't see Mustache Man up there, you know? And so I think that opened a crack. And then I think there were other things along the way. But I also think the Joe Rogan interview for a certain demographic was another huge step for people to see, like, oh, wow, okay, he's not actually what they said he is. Like
That was such a
he
huge
seems like
mistake.
a decent, yeah, he's an egomaniac.
No, I
Yes,
mean, that was a
he's
mistake
done.
on her end that she
Oh,
had a
it is
chance
for
to
her.
go on this show and she didn't go, and she's like, "You have to fly out, you have to do this, you have to do that." I understand that they wanted her to be in a controlled environment, but if there's like a moment that I think that she really lost
Yeah.
significant ground, it's that she was invited to that Joe Rogan thing and didn't want to do it. And meanwhile, you have Trump, then you have Vance, and then you have Musk, all one after the other doing the interviews with
Yep.
him. She really, really
Yeah.
didn't play her cards right there. I
Well,
don't know how she would have been. Maybe he would have embarrassed her. I don't really
exactly.
know.
See, that's the thing. Yes, I think it was a mistake for her to do it. I also think it might have been a mistake for her to do it because she is not a genuine person. I think if she were to sit down with him and try to talk for an hour, 3 hours, whatever, like unscripted,
3
right?
hours? I can't imagine. I
If
can't
she were to do
imagine her
that,
sitting for 3 hours.
I mean, I'm sure she could sit and talk for 3 hours. No one would vote for her after that. Because if she's gonna sit there and talk unscripted for 3 hours, we're gonna hear how she actually thinks about stuff. That or we're just gonna hear her fumbling and mumbling and trying to fill in 3 hours with, lines from her campaign, and it's gonna be a disaster. So, either we would have actually heard what she thinks, and people would have gone, "Oh my god." Maybe not, or we would have heard her fumbling and trying to get through that time while sticking to her script that she got from her handlers in her campaign, and people would have gone, "Gee whiz, she sounds like just completely fake." She just sits there and just all she can do is repeat the same lines over and over again. Like, I think that would have hurt her as well. So I don't know that there was a good plan.
Maybe there wasn't, but somehow that ended up being sort of a checkmate that she didn't do it, and they kept doing it over and over again, and it didn't make her look good. But let's hear more of just the end of this speech, which I did at double speed and still felt like we listened to it for an hour. But let's see.
Okay, a future where every American can pursue their dreams, ambitions, and aspirations, where the women of America have the right to make decisions about their own body, not their government telling them what to do. Our fight for the rule of law, for freedom for all, for equal justice, for the sacred principle that everyone, no matter where they start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be upheld. That's not over. That fight's still in us, and it burns strong. And I know this is an uncertain time. I'm clear-eyed about that. I know you're clear-eyed about it. And it feels heavy. And I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you. Look, this mission that we have, it takes hard work. But as you've heard me say many times, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And in doing our work, we will remain committed and intentional about building community, building coalitions, reminding people that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. We will be armed with the faith and the fuel that tells us what is possible and then drives
Sorry.
us to achieve it. So let's continue.
Even after her campaign is over, she's gotten nothing but campaign speeches in that head of hers. That's all she has is one-liners that she repeated over and over and over at stump speeches all over the country that failed. They
I
did
wonder
not
what happens.
inspire people.
I wonder what happens if you meet her in person. Is there like a different person that we're not seeing? I wonder who that person is, because really, it's always just the same kind of slogans, like you said, over and over again. And
Next, she's gonna tell us that she was born into a middle-class family.
that's probably how she's going to end her speech. But let's see.
To organize and mobilize and stay engaged. And I thank you all. I thank you all. We are all in this together. All right? We are all in this together. And on this practical eve of Thanksgiving, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving with the ability and to find the ability at this moment to just remember there is so much to be thankful for. And so I wish for you that you are surrounded by the people you love and who love you. As you know, I encourage you to be around family in whatever way you compose that family, but to take a moment and just reflect on all the good you have done and all the good you have yet to do. We are powerful, those of us who love our country, and we've got a lot of work to do. And with that, I will hand it over to Noel. Thank you all, and happy Thanksgiving from Doug and me and our family.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay. Whew, that was a lot of
That was
nonsense.
whew, yeah. Well, we didn't get middle class family, but yeah, I was sure there's. I was raised in a middle class family, and Thanksgiving was the holiday where my mother would prepare everything in our home for well, anyway.
Oh, that was very difficult.
Yeah.
Like I said, I put it on a much higher speed, and yet still, and it was only like I think the video was like 13 minutes, but and we were kind of even commenting on it, and it's still. And really, what have they even said? What did they even say in this video? Nothing.
Yeah. Please,
I
please don't leave the Democratic Party. Please think that what you did this year is actually was actually beneficial. Please don't leave us.
I tend to think that this is all part of something to continue to get more money, because the thing is that
Oh, it's always
they're
about
like, "Oh, we
money.
have more work to do. Our work has just begun." It's like, well, I don't know what work has just begun.
Yeah.
I think the work is kind of done at this point. I don't think it's just begun. I don't think there's more work. I do feel like there's going to be a round of texts that everybody's going to get to their cell phone. Sometimes I get those texts even though I am not really registered for any party, so I don't know why I get them, but she sure sends out a lot of texts. Have you ever received
Mhm.
a Kamala text?
No.
Really?
I have received a number of Republican texts. We have quite a few Republican candidates in the area that I've gotten
I
things
almost
from, but
never receive.
I've never received anything from. Although my wife, of course, working at an educational institution, there are quite a few people who are left leaning, and for somehow my wife got on a a newsletter, and actually she was like, first she was like, this is annoying, and then secondly she was like, I actually kind of like getting this because I can read like what kind of crazy stuff these people are
Oh, I
suggesting
would
that
get
we do.
crazy stuff all the time. I don't know why. Like I said, I'm not registered for any party, and I don't know why this is. I get stuff. First of all, Kamala, a million texts from her. I got like that every time. Oh, like it's finally our chance to bring down Trump. Like donate more money. I get that all the time, and and like what you said about your wife, I was kind of curious. I don't know if there's a way to unsubscribe. I kind of looked at it with curiosity. And once in a while, I get something for some other thing. It's like Elizabeth Warren wants you to do whatever. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Oh man.
But I
Around
get
around
those things.
here, around here, what we got more than anything were mailings. Like these little like double sized postcard things, we got tons of those. At one point, there was one day, and actually we got the most of them during primary season. It, just stacks and stacks of these things. It's like there's one candidate, we were getting a mailing from him almost daily.
I
We're like,
believe it. It's
what?
too much, though. I
Oh, it's
think
way
these
too much.
days they have too many avenues to reach people. I believe that I was just erroneously on some list. I don't know why, but like I always get the things. Marks for Seven says, "Price of Reason Live. Do you guys believe the quote unquote drunken Kamala rumors? She seems she'd have a former staffer blab on that, considering her staff turnover rate. I really don't know. I am not saying I know that there's like memes going on. What was it? I mean, again, I'm about to show a meme. It's not it's not that I know one thing or another. I'm just showing the kind of thing that people are kind of laughing at now. I believe that Gary from Nerdrotic was sharing this, and it kind of made me chuckle.
While you're looking that up, we got another super chat from the Dead Man. So once again, thank you
Oh,
for your support, the Dead Man, for $4.99. How many politicos would have rose up after being shot and shouted, "Fight, fight, fight"? Yeah, not many. I'll tell you that much. Not many. Uh, that action alone, I think, moved a lot of people that may have been disillusioned with Trump. As I've said multiple times before, I don't particularly love the guy. Like as far as like some of his, he's an egomaniac. He's very brash, kind of rude, vulgar, kind of a guy
He's
sometimes.
definitely a
And
character, and he's an acquired taste, but
yeah, yeah.
I
And so there's things about him with his character that I don't particularly love. And I know that there's for some people who just they can't stand him just because of his personality. He comes, just the way he comes across. I know people, but specifically they're like, it's his policies are fine. I just can't stand the man. I can't stand who he is.
I've
I get
heard
it.
people tell me that before. I've heard people tell me that, like, don't like the man. I do like his policies.
Yeah,
I've heard that from multiple people as well.
but yeah,
He is an acquired taste. He's not, he's not for everybody. I could totally see that.
but yeah, that specific thing when he stood up after after having been shot, fight, like that.
That
That
was
people, I think that changed a lot of people's opinions about him, especially people who were on the right already, but maybe didn't particularly like Trump, didn't particularly want to vote for him. Maybe raised his level of support from those people a lot. So
I actually also wonder if that incident didn't also help. I don't know if it was always his plan to kind of be a unifier, seemingly, of like bringing people from the other party,
mhm.
but all that Tulsi stuff and Robert F. Kennedy happened after.
Yeah,
So, somehow, I wonder if that kind of put things in perspective for him. Maybe after that whole situation, maybe people warmed up to him a bit more. Even people that
mhm.
didn't especially like him, and at the same time, maybe there was something that he understood, that he sort of was keen enough in that moment to be able to think of, how do I do a unified front and bring a few people that you normally wouldn't be here. Uh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
I think we did see a bit of a bit of a different man after that
A
situation. I
bit of
mean,
a
who wouldn't
softening. Yeah.
be changed by that? But I think we saw a little bit. Yes, I mean he's still Donald Trump.
He's still
Yeah,
him. He's full on him. But
but
I mean,
yeah,
there
there's
was
definitely some
something,
changes there. Yeah,
something that he must have, something must have crossed his mind in that incident. At
yeah,
least that's what it seems like. Again, we can only give the analysis based on what we're seeing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's good or bad, or I can never say it's, I don't know anything. But I think that during the campaign, we gave a really fair analysis as the way things were unfolding, and I don't feel like we were wrong at any point. Like, every point that there was something that there was to analyze about the campaign and how the candidates were doing, I feel like we gave a really maybe we don't have to be rocket scientists to do so, but I think we gave a pretty good analysis.
Nope.
And this is the meme that Neurotic shared.
Oh no.
I understand that this may offend some people, but you know what? It's a
Yeah.
meme.
You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. Don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose
Oh,
that you
I think
did.
it's again. Okay. I guess it's a loop.
There's a little bit of slurring in there. Maybe. I don't
Maybe a
know.
bit,
Yeah.
but whatever it is, I can't say. Listen, you got to have a sense of humor in life. I mean, I don't really know if she had anything to drink or not. I know people are saying that. I don't know, but I will say that as a meme, I did chuckle. I don't know what that says about me, but I saw the meme and I chuckled. So what can I do? But as we were also saying, and we were talking about how Elon Musk has become such a public enemy number one. One of the things that I really wanted to see, let me see if I can find it. Of course, now when I'm looking for this exact thing, I can't find it. Bookmarks. Okay, I think I bookmarked this thing. So, did you see this video of this Axio CEO melting down?
Oh no, I didn't
You
see that
you
one.
didn't see that?
No.
I think this one was from yesterday, but this is really interesting because until it's so interesting. First of all, Elon Musk bought Twitter, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's so stupid. Why did he buy it? He's so stupid." And like everybody's making fun of him. Everybody went through all these kind of different processes. Oh, Twitter's going to collapse. He's so stupid. He fired all the employees. He did this and that. Meanwhile, Elon comes in with his kitchen sink and whatever he did, And then he just, the idea that first of all he took everybody's check marks away and just said if you want a check mark, you pay for it. I mean, if you really think if you really think about it, that was just an immediate slap in that whole mainstream media's face. Because remember how Twitter used to be with these jerks with their check marks? I'm not saying that every person with a check mark was a douche, but you know what I'm trying to say. There were certainly a lot of these kind of
they were hand picked. You couldn't
right,
just get a check mark.
right.
You
It
had
was
to
like
be
some
hand picked by them to receive the blessing of the check mark.
right, and you know what? I'm going to give you an example here that after they shadow banned me like a number of times and did whatever, almost just as a matter of principle, during the days where it was the previous Twitter thing, I actually applied for a check mark. Now, I don't know what the criteria is now, but at the time, part of the criteria was to show that there were articles that actually wrote about you or mentioned you or things like that. And surprisingly, I know you won't believe it, but I actually had those, and I gave about 10 articles. Okay. 10 articles, you'd think, and some of these were like the LA Times, and I don't know what. There were different articles, different places. There was certainly something here to work with. And I seemingly met all the requirements that were needed. And I did it, and what do you think happened?
No telling.
They didn't give me the check mark. They
Oh,
wrote,
yeah, oh,
no,
yeah,
they
that's
reviewed it
yeah.
and they wrote, we reviewed it and we've decided not to give you the check mark. And like I tried again, and and then I wrote like I wrote to their customer support. And surprisingly, because they didn't actually used to answer people, a lot of times you'd go and you write something and they wouldn't even answer you. I actually got a response from them saying, because I said that they had shadow banned me, and I gave also like links to articles that were writing about me being shadow banned, they answered me that there's nobody on Twitter that has ever been shadow banned, and they would never shadow ban me.
Yep. Nope. It's
Like
never happened.
the fact that they actually wrote that to me, I mean, I don't know. It's just until today, just now thinking about it, it annoys me. So he came in there. He basically said, I don't care about all your check marks. You're done. And he just started doing whatever he was doing. And like initially, they all dismissed it. Oh, we're going to go to Mastodon. We're going to go to Threads. Now they're going to Blue Sky. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But at the end of the day, with all their jokes, with all their dismissing him, with all their getting upset, with all their trying to demonize him, with all these companies seemingly colluding to make him not get advertising, now advertising is returned. And nobody can argue the power that the platform has and the changes that he's made to it. They really have a lot of egg on their face. So you have Axios, like the CEO of Axios, who had some things to say about him. And now I'm just going to play this clip, which is really interesting. Especially if you haven't seen this yet, let me show you this.
Everything we do is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day, or X today, saying like, we are the media, you are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media. You having a blue check mark, a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter. You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that by having an opinion. You do it by doing the hard work.
Yeah, come on, slow clap, everybody. Whoa.
Morning, George clapping.
First
Watch
of
that.
all,
Slow clap, everybody.
very kind,
Yeah.
man. It needed to be said.
Yeah.
It continues to need to be said. When all of the garbage is flying around on social media, lying about reporters, lying about the hard work they do, lying about the hard work editors do, lying about everything up and down about not only their alternative set of facts, but alternative set of facts about what people like you do. Or if social media, people lying every day, every hour, every minute about the news. What you do matters. What the New York Times does matters. What the Wall Street Journal does matters. What Jonathan Lemire does matters. What the Financial Times does matters. What NBC News and MSNBC reporters do matters. It matters.
I disagree. I think that these guys look like they're stressed out. They look scared, and they're worried because it looks like they're going to lose their jobs.
Oh, they're terrified. They're
And
terrified.
This, just so you know, this also comes after this whole situation that we had with Elon Musk. Basically, right now, Elon Musk is in a situation that he just makes a joke about possibly looking into buying MSNBC, and these guys have meltdowns. It's like the fear here is real. They're afraid. Uh,
No, absolutely. They're terrified. They're already I mean, come on. MSNBC is being spun off, and it's technically up for sale.
it's technically up for sale.
There's a lot of the establishment media that has realized that their power has become severely limited. And you know what? No, I will admit, most of the people on various different social media sites, X, included, many of those people are not what you would call a reporter. Many of them are saying, quoting things that they've heard from some other source or whatever, but there is genuine, real reporting being done on X.
Agreed.
There are genuine, real journalists doing work on X. There are people on X who are working to share news and make it unbiased, which is something that they cannot do. They only know how to twist and turn things around so that they can present it their way. They're no longer trying to be objective. They know it, and they know that they can't be objective. They don't want to be objective, and well, pretty soon they're probably a lot of them are going to be losing their jobs.
I mean, there is obviously, when you're on X, it's not that every single person that says something, whatever they're saying, is great, and it's not that there aren't people that makes mistakes there. But I think that with the community notes, in a lot of cases, at least, if it's a really person with a lot of followers that's saying something wrong,
Mhm.
often you'll see that people are correcting that person. It's not foolproof, but you know what? I think that there seems to be a lot more truth in the reporting than the stuff from the mainstream media. The mainstream media also has become very slow, very kind of archaic, or very inefficient. And again, with all these kind of news companies that are being pushed by certain parties to do certain things, it's all become just this artificial thing. And I think that if Elon Musk, his whole plan was to buy X and make it something where the news kind of just flows faster, and a discussion between people, I feel like he's managed to achieve something. I'm not fully surprised. I mean, I've been on Twitter, I've said it a million times, one of those people that had like the amplification and shadow bans and things like that. So back in the day, I think that I was able to identify what a great platform this could be for real dialogue, and I also was able to identify what it meant when these kind of tech companies that were big tech were just silencing people. But now, the second that he bought it, and he really pretty much stopped doing that, maybe not 100%, but I think there's a lot more free speech now than there ever was on this platform. Then I think that he was able to achieve something here. I mean, everybody, all these celebrities that are leaving Twitter now, they could post whatever they want. The reason they're leaving, a lot of them, is that they're annoyed because people are no longer shadow banned. The type of people that will answer
Yeah.
them and say like, "No, you're wrong. You're making up crap. We don't want to hear your crap."
They're leaving because they no longer hold the privileged position on this network where they can say what they want and other people can't.
And
They're
ironic,
leaving because they are being challenged by other people and they're getting community notes slapped on their ridiculous posts. They're leaving because they're not in control.
yeah, right. And the thing is that they never wanted to have any kind of conversation with anybody. And a lot of them, the second Elon Musk showed up and took away their check mark, this is the part that I don't know if it was intentionally brilliant, 40 chess, or it just happened to be brilliant, is that the second he arrived, a lot of these kind of reporters that were told that if they wanted a check mark, they had to pay for it. They said, no, as a matter of principle, I'm not paying for one. So then other people that wanted to be like, let's say, citizen reporters, they had the check marks so that they paid for it. And these other quote unquote like real reporters didn't have the check mark. And the more they didn't have the check mark, the more like their They lost more and more power. By trying to flex their muscles, it probably made things even worse for them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, they became that you don't even know if they're the real person. Like, people weren't even paying attention because they didn't even keep their check marks. It looks even worse somehow. And by the way, I don't know if I told you this, is that an experiment. I actually I opened a Blue Sky account. The truth is that it's not even that I want to be on Blue Sky. It's just that at least I have a handle there. Honestly, somebody this is a really long story. Somebody already took a handle that I would have taken, but I took a different handle, and at least like I have something there. It's also my way of sort of I wanted to learn what happens on this Blue Sky thing because they keep talking about it, and man, really unpleasant place to be.
Yeah, you can say it. You can say it. Sean's not here. You can say it. It's a shit show. It's okay.
It
Yeah.
is a shit show. And the funniest thing is that there was this one guy who called himself the POC gamer. Okay, like the person of color gamer.
Yeah.
And he was sitting and whining about something. I think it was a game. I don't know what it was. And I just went on Blue Sky. I was there for like 5 minutes and I saw this. I don't even remember. The truth is, I don't even remember what he said. And I think it was something really stupid. And I tried to answer him. Let me see. You know what? Let's go into this Olbermann thing, but we'll get back. We'll get back to the Blue Sky adventure in a second. So, in any case, Keith Olbermann, who's always been kind of annoying, and he's has his own politics or whatever.
God,
He says,
yeah, I can't stand him.
there's nothing to stop Musk from buying MSNBC and turning into pro-Trump propaganda. I mean, the truth is, until now, it was anti-Trump propaganda. You realize that that's what it was until now. It's like, I don't know that that's what he's going to do, but I'm just saying, the second that these people are all, have this threat that something's going to happen, they end up being the biggest hypocrites. I mean, this is a channel that just time after time, no matter what the story was, would tell it in the exact way that they wanted to tell it over and over again. Maybe if these guys were a little more objective, people would have taken them more seriously. Like the amount of just over and over again the same propaganda again, and the fact that now this guy is all worried because Musk may buy it. The funny thing is, I don't even know if I wouldn't put anything beside him, but I don't really know if he's going to buy it. The whole thing just started because Donald Trump Jr. said, "Hey, Elon Musk, I have the funniest idea," because somebody was saying that they're putting MSNBC up for sale, and then Elon Musk wrote, "How much does it cost?" Which is funny because those are the type of questions he asked before buying Twitter. So everybody was thinking the guy in 2 seconds is about to buy MSNBC. And the thing is that everybody was really happy and like telling jokes for a few days. So like Keith Olbermann was having a meltdown. Like, but that's all that's required now.
Yeah.
Elon just has to say, like, make a joke about possibly buying something and people start having meltdowns.
Oh yeah. Like, how are you going to buy Disney? How much does it cost?
Man, if he bought Disney, that would be funny. That would be really, really funny if he bought Disney. But the thing is, it's like, okay, he's a rich man. Like, people just like, every time they're like, can you buy this? Can you buy that? It's like, it's a funny situation now. I don't know. But the whole situation is comical. But let me see if I can find that Blue Sky.
Yeah. Well, that whole thing has been just a hilarious mess. Whoever might have been following it, if you've been watching, there's been just tons of people who have left. Oh, we're gonna take over Blue Sky. We're gonna move over there, and it's gonna be our little safe space for us to be and whatever. And we're gonna leave. We're gonna be leaving X behind. And you get some of the big names that shuffle their way over there, and you get your Rob Reiners, you get your Mark Hamills that go over there, and both of them went over there, and then they've already given up on that too, and are taking a social media diet. So Rob Reiner says he's putting himself into a facility, whatever that means, but Mark Hamill's taking a break. It's just too much for him. So we get to spend some time without Mark Hamill spewing whatever it is out there into social media. But these people have been flooding over there. And I've taken a look at it. I've had a Blue Sky account for a while. I went to go just check it out, see what it was. Created an account some time ago. I don't really use it for much of anything, but occasionally to poke in and see what's going on. And yeah, right after the election, it was grim. People talking to each other like, oh, please talk me down. I'm considering, self-deleting and all sorts of stuff. It's like, good grief, like all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's where a lot of the ideas of, oh, let's shave our heads and let's put clothespins on our shirts and let's all join 4B or whatever. Let's all tell men we're not going to have sex with them, whatever. Like all of that, a lot of that stuff anyway, it started over there, and it's been insane. And if you really spend some time actually like looking around that place, there is now, of course, there's a there's now an account on X in the mold of libs of TikTok. There's now a libs of Blue Sky account, and they're definitely helping point out some of the problems over there on that network. Specifically, a very significant number of maps and PDF files. And
There's a
it's
lot of strange things going on.
Disturbing.
Okay, I think I was able to get in. Let me see if
Yeah.
I can find this thing. The only reason I'm so basically there was I don't even know if I can find this guy now. If it'll let me see what his post was. I guess I'm blocked. It's a blocked post. Let me show you.
Oh yeah.
So basically, I went to Blue Sky, and again, there was a guy that he called himself the POC gamer. And already, when somebody calls yourself the POC gamer, the only way I would think that's okay if it's a guy that was saying it like a joke. Like if you know Mexican Iron Man, a friend of mine, every time he comes on somewhere, he's like, "I'm the DEI hire," and everybody has like a chuckle, and like it's funny. I mean, he's of course he's American, but I'm saying like he's Mexican American, whatever you want to say, and he says it and we all chuckle because it's like a silly thing to say. The fact that this person is calling himself the POC gamer, but he's really serious about it, that's not a good thing. Let me see if I can find POC gamer. I feel like I probably can't. Oh, wait, let me see. How do I find somebody on this stupid app?
Yeah, you do the search at the top, then you choose people.
If I'm blocked, how can I get to this person? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know that you can.
Okay, let me see if I can do it. I'm gonna try anyways. I want to find the POC gamer. Oops, unable to resolve. Let's see if he was called.
Let's see. What post did you comment on? Maybe I can pull it up.
I don't. That's the thing that I'm not even sure. I thought it was something about a game, but I don't even know. Like it was probably something stupid. And then all I said was, "Nice echo chamber you lead here. Make sure to let everybody know that you're a POC, though, in case they didn't already know, because it's the main part of your brand. Also, it's interesting that you didn't dwell on actual facts and you just regurgitated the usual activist narrative. Good day." I really don't even know what that was. But yeah, the POC gamer. Maybe you can figure out what I did there.
I'm trying to see. Yeah, he posts a lot. So, do you remember what it was about?
Oh, okay. Here, I got it. I managed to get it. Can you see it?
Yes.
This is him. I don't know what he posted, but he's called the
Yeah,
POC
I've got his profile up. I'm just looking here.
Well, if you go to my profile and you click on replies, then you'll see what I replied to, I assume.
Ah, yeah, smart.
It says user blocking you. That's why
Yeah.
also I can't see his face. I guess it's like blurred out. I mean, that's a weird mechanism here that they blur out the face. Like, he already blocked me. What I'm gonna get triggered that like his face is blurry. I don't even understand this stupid place.
All right, and see your price O reason.
Yeah,
Right,
and
right there.
I'm going to tell you the truth. There is a guy that, in my opinion, is impersonating me. I know how weird that sounds. There's a guy who's like the most ultra ultra left extremist person, and he somehow he's like he's price of reason, and it's a very long story. I already had something with him on Twitter. I think that initially that handle didn't exist. And then years after my handle existed, I think that maybe there was a way to get the other handle, but I didn't notice. And this other guy got the handle, and then he opened it, but he did something, and his account was either suspended or I don't know what. It's a really long story. So then he went to Blue Sky and opened up like Price of Reason.
Hmm.
There's like a phony
Interesting.
out there, and like you click Price on Price of Reason. I think he has like 7 pronouns in his bio or something.
Hmm.
Anyhow, in any
Yeah.
case,
Yeah, well, so weird. When I click on your account, and then when I look at it, it shows me your post, but it shows me that it's a reply to a blocked post,
I
even
see.
though I'm not blocked by
You
him.
can't put in POCgamer.com. This is what his handle is.
No, I can see him.
Oh, can you share him?
I can, yeah.
Oh, let's do this. Let's see who this guy is.
Hold on a second. Let's get this here.
Yeah, let's see. What's Panzerlion, by the way? Okay. Good stuff. Good work, Professor.
Yeah, so I can see him here. But yeah, it's weird when I go to look at your profile. Then it just shows me that you replied, but it shows me you replied to a post that you're blocked, and so it doesn't actually connect the two. It's
They
very
really
strange.
want to do like a safe space situation here. They want to
Yes, so yeah,
separate from everybody. Let's see.
looked like
Well,
that
you
was a few days ago.
Yeah, it seems like you post every 2 seconds, but see if you have something for a few. Who knows? I think everything he writes is probably annoying and stupid.
Interesting. Cyberpunk. Oh boy, yeah.
It was probably on one of those games that failed or something that happened, and he like tried to put a spin on it, or just some of the usual nonsense. I don't even know what it is. It was probably something so vanilla and stupid. I just said the truth, but the part that I think got to him, that I said like it's really good that you wrote like POC game in your name. That's probably the part that he had the meltdown. But it's just stupid. I don't know why. It's just like I don't have any respect for him that's what he called himself. It's like not only does he call himself that, then he goes and he attacks. I just don't. I don't really. You understand what I'm trying to
Oh
say?
yeah, yeah, I get it. Yep. Well, I don't know.
Who knows at this point? I don't know what
Yeah.
it is that I said that I probably could have been applied to any of his stupid posts. Like if you took my answer and you just copied and pasted it to any of his posts, it would probably be true. But I don't know which one it was specifically that really got him upset, this guy. But in any
Yeah,
case,
there are some interesting characters on this network. Like I said, there's
what does it mean? Harsh language. Harsh language. Does it
yes.
mean that he has been using harsh language?
Mhm. Yes, that's what I think that identifies that he tends to swear in his profile. Yeah.
I guess. All right.
Or
Well,
yeah. Who knows?
it
That's
is what it is.
yeah. Yeah.
I will stop sharing him. He did block me though. So we were talking about how these guys are melting down with Elon and how they got all upset. And I guess the question is, what do you think is really going to happen to this mainstream media? I really feel like we're witnessing a change here where it's dying. And even when we looked at this Blue Sky that we were just kind of chuckling about, that doesn't look like a place that real people are having real conversations. That is the most biggest echo chamber of echo chamber. And like you said, prior to this wave of people that arrived here, there was all these kind of weird outcasts. And when we say weird outcasts, we're not talking about just like quirky people, but weird outcasts that were outcasts because they're not the greatest.
Mhm. Yeah.
As you said, they enjoy reading PDF files or something like that. So
Yeah, or reading maps, apparently, yeah. Yeah,
oh well.
yeah.
Well, I mean, and I guess that's it. It's an interesting time we're living in. I think that regardless of the actual politics and everything around it, I think just as people that have been following pop culture for several years now, like me, both you and I have been in these kind of circles where we've been analyzing everything that's been happening. This is a very interesting time. You know,
It really is, yes.
when you think about, some of the journey that started here when these kind of woke movies came out that brought a lot of people together, those kind of Star Wars, The Last Jedi, and all these like crappy movies that sort of brought a lot of people to even start talking to each other on the internet, and how we kept feeling that there were these narratives. It really opened people's eyes to what kind of narratives were being pushed here by the mainstream media. And look where we're at now, and it does feel different. I feel like something feels different now than it did before, and we're definitely living in a different time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
The
And well, the thing is, I think that there's a large percentage of the population, electorate, however you want to put it. There's a large portion of them that don't care for not only traditional media, but like traditional like television, cable television, broadcast television. They don't watch it. So if that's how you're going to try and connect with people, it's obviously going to be a massive failure. You've got generations coming up that have no connection whatsoever to NBC or ABC, CBS. They have no connection to MSNBC. They have no connection to Fox News. Right? They have no connection to any of these traditional media outlets. They have no interest in what they have to say. And they're not gonna hear them because they don't listen to it. They don't watch it. And so, yeah, I think there's a change that's finally starting to settle in, that people are really starting to understand now that this traditional media is dying, right? You had Megyn Kelly, right? Her contract got canceled. Was she with what, NBC, I think?
Yeah, I
And
think she was initially on Fox, and then
she was on Fox. Yes, she
and then
started on Fox, and then she left there with various reasons. Some of it have to do with there were some issues of sexual harassment, and there were some
yeah, there were some
accusations
things
of
going on
various
there,
misogyny and things going on there, and so she
and
left
maybe it
during
was
that
true
time.
too. I'm not
Yeah,
dismissing that.
no, it's entirely possible.
Eh,
I don't think Megyn Kelly is the type of person to lie about that kind of
no,
thing.
I don't
I'm
think
just
so
being
either.
honest.
I actually, when all of that happened, there were certain figures and people that there were certain stories and certain people that came forward, and I don't want to say didn't believe them, but I felt that they were being opportunistic. In her case, I think that the kind of things that came out there seemed rather believable. Uh,
Mhm.
can't say it's not like I sit around, not then and not today. I don't really sit around and watch Fox News. It's not like I knew much about her,
Mm.
but I don't know. I mean, I didn't think she was making it up. They even made a movie about it. I think they made a movie like
Did they?
yeah, and they made a movie that, like, I think Nicole Kidman, there were, like, big stars that played them, maybe
Mm,
Naomi Watts and Nicole
yeah.
Kidman. I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong with the actresses, but I think there were a few, like, known. Oh, Margot Robbie played somebody, no?
Uh,
Am I an idiot? Was
Possibly. I don't really remember. I seem to remember that there was something made. I don't remember the movie or anything like
maybe it
that. I
was
certainly
no,
haven't
no,
seen it.
what's her name? What's her name? Charlize Theron was in it. I just
Oh,
added, like,
okay.
7 women that probably weren't in that movie.
It's all the women. All
Now
the women were in
all
the
the women,
movie.
and I put, like, all these, like, attractive women. I don't think they were all. Now I'm curious. Let's see, Megyn Kelly, movie?
Well, what I was saying about Megyn Kelly while you're looking that up was basically just the fact that, you know, she left Fox, went to NBC. NBC sort of shut her down, and then it's like, well, now she's left. She's going to be a nobody now. She's gone, and then she took what she had. She took her knowledge and her skills and her following, the people that enjoy watching her. She took that over to it's oh but took that over to one of the satellite radio, things, and then also launched a YouTube channel with that same content, and now she's got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people watching her stuff every day.
You know
Right?
what? She was ahead of the
She's
curve. They
huge.
did her a favor. They did her
Yeah.
a favor today. I think that she's probably so grateful that they did that because it only helped her. But I want to tell you something, and I kind of am patting myself on the back here. This is the movie. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
So there was a movie, and look who's
Yes.
starring in it. It
Yes.
had Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, and Margot Robbie. Come on, man. Give me some props here.
Okay.
Give me some props. Yeah, you thought to yourself, there isn't a movie. The only one that I messed up is
Oh,
Naomi
Price is
Watts. I messed
right.
up on Naomi Watts,
Yeah.
but you know what? You could have thrown her in this movie.
Yep.
If you wanted
Why
four,
not? Yeah,
like
yeah.
4 good-looking blonde women, you could have thrown Naomi Watts in here. But honestly, the fact that I even got these 3 right is astonishing.
This won the Academy Award for Best Makeup and Hairstyling.
I mean, I think that these ladies were just looking good. I mean, this was pretty much,
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure they told the truth and nothing but the truth in this film. We got a couple of super chats here, Price, and you're being called on the carpet here.
Oh, okay.
It's just so you know, Price. It's Michelle, and it's Mexican Ironheart now. So how dare you? Okay. How dare you dead name Mexican Iron Man? All right. So that was from the Dead Man, $4.99 and then $1.99. Thank you, Dead Man. It's a great point. Yes, we don't want to dead name Michelle and Mexican Ironheart.
I didn't intend to do that. I apologize. Thank you so much. And then also, both of them. It's Michelle and Mexican Ironheart. How dare you? And then also, how dare you dead name Mexican Iron Man?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yep. You'll never look at rabbit chicken tacos the same way again.
But yeah, I'm just so proud of myself. Like this is a great moment because really,
pulled that one out of the vault.
Pulled it out of the vault. Sometimes I have my moments. The thing is that this movie, it's not exactly like I'm the target audience for it. I don't even. I'm ashamed to say that I think I've seen the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that I was on a plane. Okay, this will maybe help me get out of this. I feel like I was on a plane, and I don't know. I don't know why I would watch it. It seemed like a movie that I wouldn't watch, and maybe on a plane there was a reason why I watched it. I don't really know. I don't know what my other options were. I mean, maybe I just maybe initially I just saw it said Bombshell, and there were like the 3 ladies there, and I'm just like didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, it's just
It
like
could be that it took time for me to
Bombshell.
understand what it was. Maybe if I would have known what it was,
yeah,
maybe I would have steered away from it. But I feel like I saw the poster and I'm like, okay, Nicole Kidman, Charlize Theron, and Margot Robbie. Okay, let's see what they're doing. So yeah, I believe I saw this movie. But you know what? It made me have some empathy towards the women that were going through this or whatever it was, I guess.
Yeah. There's people will say, you're misogynists or whatever because you vote this way or that way or whatever. You know what? I have seen plenty of misogyny in my lifetime. I know it's real. It absolutely is. There is scum out there. There are men who thoroughly disrespect women in many different ways, but that doesn't mean that every man is a misogynist and that every man is sexually harassing other women. This happened. I have no doubt that this did happen. And did it happen to the level that some people, claim that it did? I don't know. Well,
yeah, I mean, there are
but-
certain things. I think that every case is different, and there was a lot of different things being said and done. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, it's not like I can't watch a movie like this and take something from it. But yeah, I mean, it's like that with everything else. It's even when we talk about like islamophobia and things like that. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's not that there aren't bad people out there. I see them, and I usually usually I'm against it, and I would speak out about it if it's something like very obvious, very clear that somebody's doing that. I think that what's happened is there's a few different things. One, and this is the main thing, I think that people have taken every single thing that everybody says. They're just like, oh, Uranist and a phobe, and those terms are just thrown around very loosely all the time. The other thing is that also I think that sometimes, especially let's say in our rowdy things on the internet and on streams and stuff, I've been on streams that sometimes like I'm on a stream with like 10 people, and sometimes you have people saying like, the most inappropriate things and kind of joking and whatever. And even though I understand how maybe somebody would hear some of this jokes and things and consider that offensive, I actually don't think that the people saying them are meaning to offend. I think that it's more of humor and things like that. uh I think that we've become very serious, and people take every kind of joke or anything way too seriously. It used to be that I think people used to be able to laugh at their differences and laugh even at your background or who you are, and really there were no limitations to the type of humor you could do, even if it's sort of offensive. And over the past several years, it's become like you can't tell a joke anymore, and I don't think that's right.
No, it's been yeah. I was it was Jerry Seinfeld that was talking about it, right? He was talking about the left kind of shutting down humor, shutting down the end of
Right,
comedy
and
and all this stuff, and then someone made him take it back.
they made him apologize. He had to go back and say, "No, I thought about it and I was
Nope,
wrong. Like, how could I say this? How could I say this?" I don't
nope,
know.
nope. I realized it wasn't
Oh,
actually
I did
that.
really wrong. It was wrong. Yeah.
It was something else. Something else was ruining comedy.
Yeah, they're like, "No, no," like, but you could tell.
Oh
At the
yes.
time, I think what I was telling you was that I think that probably his wife was saying, "Hey, we're not invited to as many cocktails as before." And I think that enough it had to do something with his wife, maybe he has kids, I don't know what. She said, like, does he have kids? I don't even know. Does he have kids?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Probably his wife said, "I don't like our kids are being told this. We're not going to drink cocktails." I don't know what, and I think that he came out and he apologized. I
Yeah.
think we
Well,
talked about it a while back.
yeah, yeah, and then not shortly after that, he came out because his kids went to a fancy preparatory school in New York that had made news about how they had days off after the election for kids to be able to process, what had happened because so many of them were so upset, so deeply hurt by the outcome of the election that they had to take days off. And there was some other stuff too. There teachers weren't allowed to do assignments on those days. There's all sorts of stuff, and he basically came out and said, they're raising this is not right. You need to be teaching kids to be resilient, to bounce back, not coddle them. And you're just raising well, frankly, a bunch of pussies. Like this is what you're this is what you're doing. And that's not who, really successful kids are gonna, you know, that's not the skills they need to have to be successful. You need to be helping them learn to deal with these things, not taking a day off and letting them, color pages in crayons as a, high schooler in a preparatory school. Like it's absurd.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. I think that when I was growing up, at least that's the way I remember it, there were people from different backgrounds, and people would purposely make fun of that person of whatever it is that the stereotype was. Everybody would be laughing at it. But then everybody would be laughing at somebody else's stereotype. And then the person that was being laughed at for a stereotype was laughing at the other person for a stereotype. And it was a situation that people are friends, but they're just like, they're all laughing at each other's differences. And everybody's sort of in on the joke, and it's sort of like kind of like a busting your balls situation. And I think that between guys, this existed more.
Oh yeah,
This was
absolutely.
this was before all these like kind of that there's social media and they do these apps and they're TikTok. I don't know what there's. Don't get me wrong, we're on social media too, but we lived a real life before that, so we know what it means to really communicate with people. And part of the reason why you have all these meltdowns and people with thin skin and people that are shaving their heads and weirdos and all this stuff, it's because they don't know, didn't have real contact with other people. They haven't had real confrontations, and sometimes these type of situations, they build character. You know what I mean? And the one that I'm describing, it's not even that there was something bad happening. It's just that's the way it was. I mean, you got a little people ribbed each other a little. They made fun of each other. They
Oh
highlighted
yeah.
the difference.
Oh
It was,
God. Yeah.
I think that used to be a thing,
Oh yeah.
and
Absolutely.
it was only a good thing, because I can always remember that amidst all of these things that are going on, we're all going out and doing something together. You know what I mean? We're all hanging out and doing something together. Yes, people are like, taking a piss on you, I think the British way to say taking a piss on each other, whatever it is. But you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
This is what builds more authentic relationships. It actually helps break the ice and sort of bridge between differences between people. And instead, now we have, how dare you say this? Don't say this. Don't tell this joke. Don't say this thing. Don't say that thing. And everybody melting down every second. I don't think that's the right way to go about it, personally.
Absolutely not. No, it's rather silly. I mean, when you're basically teaching people to be fragile, to be busted up by the tiniest little things, right? And no wonder some people had such violent, wild reactions to the outcome of the election. They were basically told that this thing that happened was going to destroy the world, destroy the life that they know. You have people who are like, oh no, I'm going to have to detransition because Trump won the election. It's like, no, you're a grown ass adult. You can live your life however you want. I mean, the truth is that most people don't have a problem with the Transformers. It's they're messing with kids is the problem.
I think that's a big problem. I think that that's what really alienated people, and it really, even in this campaign, I think a lot of people didn't want to say it, but they were already annoyed with some of this stuff, and I think that a lot of places kind of gloss over it. But I do feel like even that played a role. And just quickly, Peter says, "Hi, all, greetings from Maine." So yeah, nice, nice that somebody in Maine is listening to us,
Yes.
and
We got listeners all over the world.
all over the world. And then we
Well, maybe
have
not all over the world, but various different points of the world. Yes.
I'm trying to see. Boosh McFadden says Seinfeld made logical sense when the media started screaming. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
true. Yep.
He and then Empress and M says the pre-sensitivity training times. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's quite literal. I mean, there's research that's been done into this stuff that when you teach people to essentially be offended by these tiny little things, you are training them to be emotionally fragile. You're not training them to be resilient, to shake things off or to ignore things or whatever. So yeah, when we were kids and when we were in high school and everybody would be making jokes and the guys would be busting each other's balls and they'd call you gay and you'd laugh about it and you'd be like ha ha whatever, and then you'd have a few jokes and it was just in fun. It was just part of establishing relationships and how you
When I think
mess
about
with
it
each other.
now, some very, very terrible things were said.
Oh
And
my
at the
God.
same time,
Yes.
and when I think about it now, I'm not even upset. I'm kind of chuckling because I know, like, I know this wasn't done because people were evil. This was just a way of connecting socially. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But really, like, I think about it, and what seemingly was bad, but it was also a bonding experience, and I can't really explain it. And I think that a lot of these younger people that have never been in like real social situations, they just don't understand it. They don't understand the kind of bond you have especially when you're making fun of each other. If people can't make it fun of each other and have a few laughs even at each other's expense, then you're not really bonding. What if you're all every second, oh no, what am I going to say? This person's going to be offended. What am I going to say? Like, that seems really odd, and it doesn't build character, and it doesn't build real relationships.
No, it doesn't at all. And when you also get, they train, oh, look for all of these things. You'd be amazed at how much racism is happening all around you when you look at microaggressions and you look at all of these things and these little things. And they're literally teaching them to find offense in everything. And so when you're teaching them that, there's the old saying, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Right.
When you've been taught that the world, everything that happens around you is racist, is sexist, when you have been taught that for long enough, you're going to find it no matter whether it's there or not. Somebody is going to come up and someone is going to, the man is going to walk up to a woman and say, "Well, you are looking lovely today." Not meaning it as a come on, not meaning it as any kind of anything, simply just saying, you're looking very nice today. I'm impressed by your appearance. Right. And then they immediately, "Oh, so my looks are the only thing that's valuable to you? Is that what that is, you sexist pig?" It's like, "No, that's not what I was saying, but okay." Right? Uh, just trying to tell you that I thought you looked nice, and it was clear that you put some effort into your appearance today. But if you don't want my compliment, fine, right? And so it's just they're teaching. They've for a long time now. They've been teaching kids. They've been teaching college students. Just look for all these offenses. You'll be amazed how racist the world is if you just look for it everywhere. And of course, when you teach them to look for it everywhere, they end up finding it one way or another. So.
And speaking of people not being able to take any kind of criticism or anything like that, I don't know if people are aware, but I posted on all platforms. I posted a review for the movie Wicked, and I think that to date, I already have thick skin. I'm not like those kids that we just talked about that they get offended by everything. I have thick skin at this point, but even I have to say was a bit surprised at the amount of weird comments that I got from my review of Wicked on not on Rumble, to be honest. Rumble, I think people were very nice about my review, but I think that on other platforms you had some people really having meltdowns. Some of them went as far as to really, I think I showed you one, and I'll show you. This one is just an extreme example, but I just wanted to show you the type of things that I was dealing with. So let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. I think you know
Yeah.
which one I mean.
Oh yeah. Oh, I went and read through some of the comments on there. I was it was real interesting. Some of the things that people had to say. Again, not all of them were negative, but
No,
there
not all of
there
them were negative, but there
there
were
were some
some.
people. There are some people who are genuinely. I don't know if it's just if it's somebody just progressives or it's specifically people who are huge fans of the Wizard of Oz, or if there's some sort of intersectionality that exists there. But yeah, it's some of the comments were just so bizarre that you would take that you would go in that direction with your commentary, right?
So this one,
Against what you said.
I don't know why that. I don't know why this one just surprised me. I guess it seemed so bonkers. So I'll just read it. Complaining that Wicked made the Wizard of Oz too woke when L. Frank Baum was a suffragist, married to a suffragette, who was the daughter of a prominent suffragette, is hilarious. If you read the original 1900s books, you'd know that the men in Oz don't have any power. It's all the women, and that was on purpose because L. Frank Baum was a feminist, LMAO. There's also a canonically trans character, Ozma. Again, all from the original author in the 1900s, crying that Wicked made this franchise too woke as a joke when the dude who created it made the most powerful characters women in a time when women couldn't vote and wrote trans characters in children's books before the term trans was a thing, LMAO. Now, this is absolute nonsense. This is
Mhm.
absolute nonsense. This is just not true. First of all, and I think that did I answer? Oh, here, this is what I said. I also answered within that thread in the YouTube, but I just said here, the author of the original Wizard of Oz book from the year 1900 was neither a trans activist nor was he a fifth wave feminist. I stand by my opinion of the Wicked movie, and I'm not budging. Good day. And yeah, I feel good about what I wrote, but I will say that I think that this is bonkers. What do you have to say about this?
Well, it's just absurd. First of all, yes, I do believe, yes, actually, he was a suffragist. He was interested in putting women in positions of power, and it was how part of the world of Oz was portrayed. That generally it was women who were able to use the magic, and there's women who were sort of the inheritors of the royal power and the strength. It was Princess Ozma sort of ultimate power, the true ruler of Oz. And you know what, all of that stuff, yeah, that would be what we would consider more classical feminism, right? Like, yes, women are also powerful. Women also can be part of the power structure, and they can run things. And the original suffrage movement was all about women getting the vote, and women being able to contribute to society in ways other than just staying at home with with the kids, right? And yeah, I'm certain that he was influenced by that. And but that, as you said, that's not modern feminism. This man hating, bizarre feminism that we see today.
Well, I mean, basically, I think that there's different waves of feminism, and that was like
There
the
are.
first
Yeah.
wave, and now we're like in the fifth wave. The first wave was, shouldn't women be able to vote? Like, aren't they also people or something like that? And the one that we have now, it's like, we hate all men. We're shaving our heads. Just fuck you. Like, that's sorry, but that's you know what I'm saying. That's the fifth wave. Those are two very different things. He was not thinking of those ladies shaving their heads now and was saying weird things
No,
on
no.
TikTok. I think he was just saying that women should be able to vote and should be given, more authority in jobs and things like that. Something that I don't think anybody has an issue with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that this is
Yeah.
actually fine. There's really no issue with it whatsoever. It's just the way that these people are trying to apply their modern day ideologies and paste them to a guy
Yes.
in 1900 who really had nothing to do with it. He is not thinking on the same level wavelength of them as them on feminism. In addition to that, also this Ozma character, like I mean, this was not a trans character. This
No.
is
So this is the Wikipedia article. Not that this is, Wikipedia is
no,
the
go on, go
bastion
on.
of truth, but this is Ozma, the Ozma character. If you look back at the books, yes, Ozma was sort of meant to be the ruler, the supreme ruler of Oz, eventually, but initially Ozma is born a girl, and then magic is used to transform her as an infant into a boy, to hide her from those that might be a threat to her. So she's transformed without her consent into a boy
Right.
named Tip, who then lives out life until her later her later teenage years, when he finds out that actually you were born a girl. You're actually Princess Ozma, and you have to be transformed back so that you can take your place, whatever. So eventually, then the boy Tip agrees to be transformed back into the girl Ozma. So first of all, there were no surgeries or hormones involved here. Uh, this was magic. So
Right.
not trans. But if you want to go down that road, technically, one, this character was trans as an infant without their consent.
Right.
And then if you really want to go there, also born a girl, transitioned to a boy, then transitioned back into a girl. So I believe that's called a detransitioner, and I believe the T's the Transformers don't particularly like detransitioners. They try to make it so that
Right,
we're
right.
supposed to believe they don't actually exist. So
Right. I mean,
yeah.
the thing is that in any case, I really think that they're trying to paste some 2024 nonsense to this
Of
thing.
course, yeah, modernism, yeah, modern
I
day
think that
stuff.
he just thought it was a cool story idea that like the person was born a girl and then to hide her he put a spell and it's as if she's a boy, and then Glinda came and fixed it, removed the spell, and then she's a girl again. I think that was more of a magic spell type of idea. I don't think that he had
Exactly.
any thoughts about transitioning in 2024
No.
in 1900. I honestly don't think that this was on his mind. It would be such a bonkers thing for this guy to be thinking about in the year 1900. Nobody was thinking about this. And people were, I think, in this thing, even in this thing, were like, I think that I answered this person on YouTube, and then they wrote, no, you don't know. There were a lot of people like that back in 1900. No, there weren't. There weren't a lot of people like that in 1900. They didn't. This is a delusion. You know what I'm saying? It's this delusional to think that in 1900 this is what this author meant, and to try to read into that is just it's wishful thinking, nothing more. Somebody wrote here, like, I don't know, that if Phantom Monk wrote 1900s, people were just trying to live. That's what he was, I think, trying to say. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I think that in 1900, people had very simple things going on. I love when these kind of 2024 people are like trying to plant their ideologies into a person 1900.
Yeah. The I'm so tired of people trying to put modern day values
Right. I
on the
mean,
past. It drives me insane. It's like going back and trying to look at, a movie that was made in, in 1940 or something, and you're like, "Oh, look at how they, look how awful this is, and look how racist." It's like it was a different time.
it was a different
People
time.
had different values. We had different knowledge. They
I honestly think that in 1900, like, maybe this guy was a nice guy, but there were probably situations that women, like, were, husbands would, like, how do I explain this? Even on the honeymooners, the guy tells a joke, is like, one of these days, Alex, I'm gonna,
yeah.
implying that if she annoys him, he's gonna, like, slap her or something. And
As they said on an episode of Futurama, he was just using space travel as a metaphor for beating his wife.
yeah, but I mean, it was something like that, and then you have all the audiences like laughing, and they're like, "Well, why are they laughing? Because I guess back in the day, I guess people thought that kind of stuff was funny. Maybe times were
Yeah.
different. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's good that that's what it was. I'm just saying that that's what he says, and it gives me the feeling that he says it because maybe there was a grain of truth within society that that's how things were.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that it was good that they were that way, but times are different all the time. So that's why always when you go back and you're like, um, even you know what? I can't believe I'm saying this. Aunt Jemima.
Yeah.
So Aunt Jemima, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to think for a second. I think it's Aunt Jemima. When there was this whole BLM thing in 2020, they wanted to cancel Aunt Jemima because they said, let's see, and I
Mhm.
think it's canceled until today. Aunt Jemima.
Yeah, they got rid of the Aunt Jemima syrup. Yeah, same with Uncle Ben's rice. They uh they just renamed it Ben's. Yeah. So,
So basically, yeah. So you had Aunt Jemima, which for many years was a popular syrup for.
yeah,
Are you there?
pancake syrup. Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this thing. So basically, where is it? Now they're like reorganizing history. I can't even find a proper picture. But okay. So this is it. Let's see. Ugh, New York Times. Not that I appreciate the New York Times, but I'm going to share it
Mhm.
anyways. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
So this is, I guess, from 2021. Can you see it?
Yep.
Aunt Jemima brand to change name and image over racial stereotype. And basically, because there was a black woman here and it was called Aunt Jemima, they decided at the time that they have to change it. Oddly, they changed it to something called the Paper Milling Company or something like that. Nobody knows what that company is. I feel like people would have just continued to buy this thing. Nobody knows what they wanted. And the reason that they did this whole thing is that they claimed that um, the initially when they thought of this thing and they called her aunt, it kind of has an implication that back in the day, like, it meant that you were I don't know, it was like in the plantation thing. I don't even know. All I know is that as a kid, I didn't know about any of this, and I think that most people, so much time had gone by from like 1889 or whatever it is that they're talking, or like the 1800s, whatever even they're talking about. So much time has gone by that I think that most people weren't even thinking about it. They're like, oh, it's like I thought to myself that it's like you have an aunt that made the syrup. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Innocently, that's really what I thought it was. I'm not just saying that to be clever now. I thought that it's like, sometimes you see Italian sauce, like pasta sauce, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Maria sauce. And like, you don't think to yourself, oh, like this has to be some kind of istophobia thing. You think to yourself, oh, it's like an Italian aunt that made the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah. No.
That's what I thought that this syrup was, and somehow they came up and they said this thing. And why am I telling you all of this? Because their whole reasoning for getting rid of this was that they think that in 1889, when the people that came up with this idea for this sauce, for this maple syrup, they were thinking about some kind of minstrel thing. I don't know what, some plantation. I don't know what they were thinking. And they're like, they wanted her to stand in the kitchen and make syrup, or I don't know what they were thinking. Like, I read all these weird things, and it's like, we're in 2021. Of course, in 1889, they were thinking of some lady in a kitchen. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
what are you even talking about? The fact that somebody is trying to apply the logic of people in 1889 or like in the 1800s into like 2021 is already outrageous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if I'm not mistaken, this was, I think that there was a woman who was sort of their spokesperson who was
There was a real person. Her name was
right,
Nancy Green.
right, and
And
it was
she was the original spokesperson for Aunt Jemima's flour. She was born into slavery. She was freed, lived through antebellum South and all sorts of other stuff. She had a life. She was a real person. And it's also it's sad to think that she was, to a lot of people, she was, a part of their household because they bought her syrup, right? They were sort of honoring her memory without even knowing it, right? That this was a woman who became an entrepreneur and built on her legacy and so on. And she still has surviving relatives to this day. It's
basically, and just to I think sharpen what you're saying, this was the first case I think ever that there was like a person attached to a product as sort of a spokesperson. So they came up, whoever these people that made this thing came up with the sauce, with the sorry syrup, but they would bring her to world fairs and she would stand there and she was basically their main like salesperson. You know what I mean? She would be standing at fairs and people were all lining up to meet her and to buy this syrup. And if you think at the type of years that this happened, instead of thinking of this as a story of istophobia, this is actually a completely different story. This is like a success story. She actually died. It's like you said, she started off as a whatever she was in that situation, and she died actually a rich woman. She was actually a success story that from an early stage was attached to this and she became the face of the product, so much so that she had like unprecedented deals attaching her to this brand, something that today you have like a Kim Kardashian doing. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Totally ahead of her time, negotiating these deals. She died, from what I understand, a rich woman, and like you said, she has descendants today that are very proud of the work that she's done, and that she was able to build that, and that so many people welcomed her into the homes, and what that meant for people. It meant something. I think that it actually was one of those breaking barriers situation. It was a success story, and somehow they managed to twist it all and make it like, oh no, in 1889 somebody was an istophobe. We have to make sure that this never happens again. It's such stupid behavior. And I don't think that this brand has flourished since they removed her. I don't know what the paper milling company is. I don't even see it in the supermarket. I feel like nobody buys this thing anymore. I don't know what they buy, but they're not buying this.
Nope, sure not. I mean, no offense to the lovers of corn syrup that's flavored like maple stuff, but we buy real maple syrup in my house, so I wasn't buying this stuff. I think we probably had it when I was a kid, but
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you the truth. I'm not a big pancake person.
oh,
It's like
neither am I.
I
But
just for me it's just too many. I don't know if to say too many calories. It's too heavy for me. But
yeah,
I mean, I growing up, there were situations that maybe I was somewhere, or maybe I was at friends or something, and I would eat a pancake. I've definitely seen Aunt Jemima syrup. Like I've seen that before, even if it's at a friend or whatever. This was something that growing up, you want a maple syrup. That's the standard one you get in the supermarket. It
mhm.
doesn't matter if you're like a connoisseur of maple syrup or not. The bottom line is this was like just like when you go and you want to buy Coca-Cola and you have Coca-Cola in your supermarket, if you wanted to buy maple syrup in your supermarket, you probably would have run into this.
Yep. Yep.
So
You saw it a lot. It was very, very popular brand. We saw, growing up, you probably saw the commercials of the little bottle walking across the table and talking to talking to kids about the syrup on their pancakes and whatnot.
right.
So,
A- a-
uh,
And they
yeah,
did a similar thing with Ben's rice, that it was called
yeah,
Uncle Ben's rice.
yeah. I think they did better. I think with that particular
They at
brand,
least they just call it
they
Ben's now or
They call
something
it
like
Ben's Original, and then, on some of the products, they would still occasionally have, the the, uh, the original mascot's, or not mascot, but, the spokesperson's face. That was
right.
terrible. The
That was
original spokesperson's face. I don't actually think I don't know that it was a real person,
No, I don't. I think that that's a
for that
drawing
one.
in that case.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't have used the term mascot,
Mascot, that was bad. Yeah, that was, uh,
but I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
yeah,
You meant the face of the brand. But in the case of
yeah.
Aunt Jemima, there was a woman, and that was based on her. With the case of Uncle Ben, I don't think it was based on anybody. I think that they just had a picture of a guy that they drew. But regardless, again, it was another situation that wasn't thinking about anything. I think that that they would think that people in 2024 are thinking to themselves, how did people feel in 1865 or something like that, is very weird to me.
Mhm.
It's like it's the dumbest thing really I've ever seen. And yeah, at least in their case, they kept the Benz, so they removed the uncle, so it's like Ben's original. Sort of get away with it. Sort of get away with it. But this one was different. The Aunt Jemima one, no reason for it. But it
Yeah.
is what it is. They did it. I wonder if this actually and somebody says Bush McFadden that Land O'Lakes, they got rid of the Indian woman and kept the land. You know what's sad, that
Yep.
is actually probably true. I remember something like that too. Let me see for a second. Land O'Lakes. Now I'm curious. Land O'Lakes.
Yeah, it's just instead of having the logo with the, Native American woman in there, it's just a big empty O. Land O'Lakes. It's
It's so stupid. I don't even understand it. Let's see what it looks like now. I guess uh this is so dumb.
Yep.
What was wrong with that woman? I mean, there were Native Americans that lived here. I mean, what's so offensive about having a Native
I don't
American?
know.
It
I
looked
think
fine to me.
I think maybe they should have just kept the logo and given some of their money to help support Native American tribes in the US. I
You're
think that
probably
would have
right.
been, perfectly reasonable, maybe even better. But who knows? These branding marketing people, they got to make their money somehow, right? So
Somebody, I guess, is selling this on eBay for $412. I guess because it's the old box.
I can't see it. You're not sharing that tab.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Where was it? Okay, share this tab instead. Can you see it?
Yep. That's
Somebody
a
is selling
fairly
this
new
for
one, yeah.
$412. They're like, you want that? You want the Native American woman? Well, you're gonna pay for it. That's so wacky.
Yep.
But you know what? This looked a lot nicer. What's wrong with this? What is wrong with this? I guess they could have, if they really wanted to, they could have made her look less Native American. Although, why? Why would they even want that? Just keep it. That's a part of our history. There were Native Americans. Why take that away from them? This was a cool looking wrapper to butter. They completely ruined it. Not to mention that the paper milling company, who even knows what that is? That's the worst name ever. Right? Is that what it's called?
It's pretty bad. I'm not sure.
Let me see for something. It's like, how does that even have anything to do? Oh, Pearl Milling Company. Okay. So
Okay.
now this is what they do now. Share this tab instead. Okay. You see, it's Pearl Milling Company now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bland and stupid.
They couldn't just have named it after the actual person. They couldn't have after Nancy Green or something. Suppose they
Right,
probably
at
would have
least-
had to pay the family to use the
Yeah,
name.
it's very nice, all the activism, until they actually have to
Yeah.
pay somebody. So
Yeah.
they didn't want to pay the family. They didn't want to use the original name, and it's like the Pearl Milling. It's so forgettable. But how did we get? Sometimes we talk about weird things. How do we get to talking about this weird retroactive renaming of these products?
Oh God, Adam.
Oh, I think
I remember that. And the post from Adam. Yes,
Okay.
I have.
I'm
Yes.
going to regret this, but I'll share it. So I might be the only one who remembers this, but there's a way to fold the old box so that her bare knees look like boobs up on her
Yes.
chest. Is this the Land O'Lakes or which one?
Yes. Yes. There was with one of the boxes. You could fold it up, and it was a stupid trick. You'd see, prepubescent boys do. Check it out, man. There's boobs on the box.
That's wacky. That's actually wacky.
Yeah, it would look like cleavage.
I think the reason I was looking at these things, because I was telling you that it's the same thing with the Wizard of Oz. Or like, oh, Ozma, it was a
Yeah.
boy, and then she wanted to transition and be like, take to do like a surgery, gender affirming surgery. No, she didn't want to do any. Nobody wanted to do this. It was 1900. They were not thinking about that stuff. Like, no, he wanted to support transformer rights. No, he didn't. So that was the way I felt with them trying to say that in 1889 they disrespected her because they thought that she would be in the kitchen working or something. And it's like, listen, if you're a woman and you're in 1889, you're in the kitchen working. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. Like, that's what men would think about a woman in 1889. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
This weird offense is that they're like, oh, they thought she would be in the kitchen. Yes, in 1889, they absolutely thought that she would be in the kitchen. She thought she would be in the kitchen too in 1889.
And if you saw a black woman and you saw she could cook, she was probably cooking up something really good too. I mean,
most likely, and apparently it worked on people in that World Fair that they all wanted, like the thing, like she was standing around making food, and they all stood in line. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just a very, very different time, And
You want some rich white woman who's never cooked a thing in her life, or you want a woman who knows a thing or two about how to cook something in the kitchen.
I feel like even the rich white women in like 1889 probably also were expected to go into the kitchen and make some food, and again, like the Alice thing with Ralph Cramden, they were expected not to suddenly speak not in their turn. And I'm not saying that that's good. I'm just saying that in the 1800s that would probably be expected, because that's times were different, and it was what it was. I mean, I was giving this example. I don't know. Was I with you on a stream that I mentioned? Leave It to Beaver.
Oh, I don't think so.
So in any case, I was mentioning that you have that show, that '50s show, Leave It to Beaver, and Ward Cleaver is kind of the biggest fart ever. He's like, there's nothing like alpha about that guy. He's the most like just seems like the biggest like pushover. Okay, but even Ward Cleaver, when he arrives home, his wife is immediately like, fetching him things, and I got dinner on the table, Ward, like just like you like it. Here, let me bring you your this. Let me bring you your slippers. You know what I mean? She's like, let me bring you your paper, and it's like this guy who's basically like looks like he can't command anything. He like looks like such a like weak like pushover guy, but even he comes home and his wife like is running around for him. Now of course it's a show and it's from the 50s or whatever it is, but the thing is that it's still representing some kind of mentality that existed, meaning it's a product of its time. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a product of its time, and whoever was sitting around watching this was thinking, oh, that makes perfect sense. Like, she's running around because her husband came home and she has to cook stuff in the kitchen or whatever it is. uh, Obviously whatever was made in in the 1950s is not the same thing as a show you'd make in 2024. But to go back and to try to fix things, uh now what they do is they add trigger warnings before every show. Like, you want to watch a show, want to watch a movie, they put this kind of warning. They do this a lot with like Doctor Who episodes. They're like, oh,
Mhm.
at the time this was very offensive. They start writing all this stuff to you. And recently I think that even Elon Musk shared it, that they, I guess, put a trigger warning at the beginning of Goodfellas. Did you see that?
Trigger warning. A trigger will be pulled a lot in this movie.
But did you see that thing with
No,
Goodfellas?
I didn't see the one with Goodfellas, but no, I've seen it on hundreds of other TV shows, movies. It's all so absurd. Just it's so much. It's presentism, right? Again, applying today's values, trying to apply that to things in the past, and the trigger warnings particularly are bad because again, we're training people to be fragile. We're training people to be offended, and that's exactly what trigger warnings do. There's research this is backed up by scientific research showing that when people get trigger warnings, that they are more like their anxiety is elevated about what they're going to see and before they actually see it.
So
They're
right here,
told it's gonna be bad before they've actually seen something to judge for themselves whether or not they're gonna find this offensive. It's disgusting.
Right here, Elon Musk says they give a trigger warning for Goodfellas. Seriously, and then somebody wrote, "My ideology is whatever is necessary to stop this bullshit." And their warning is, "This film includes language and/or cultural stereotypes that are inconsistent with today's standards of inclusion and tolerance, and it may offend some viewers." It's a movie about mobsters that say a bunch of crazy shit and shoot each other. I mean, if you're going to
Yeah.
sit down and watch this movie, this is the deal breaker now. You have to say, "Oh, well, they said things that may have been considered intolerant." It is so ridiculous. The whole movie, like, you can't watch this movie at all. Forget
Oh,
about the
yeah.
language or anything.
No.
If you don't understand that you're watching mobsters sitting around and saying crazy shit and doing crazy shit, if you don't get that, then maybe that movie just isn't for you. But to add this kind of trigger warning is just so stupid. And I don't know. It really shows a problem in our society that we keep mentioning here.
Yeah.
But
It's I mean,
I,
yeah,
I
the
guess
trigger warnings drive me insane because I mean, it is just blatantly like, "Oh, make sure you're offended. make sure you're offended if you watch this. You need to be offended. You know,
Before we just jump into Gladiator, I just want to say the final thing, and this is just to sum up all the kind of negative comments I've gotten for my review for Wicked. I just want to sum up in a few sentences what really annoyed me about the movie. As long as it was on Broadway and they were just doing some kind of niche thing that maybe women or people, men who like men, like to go to, it's perfectly fine, and that doesn't really bother me. The problem with this movie is that it's really, really trying to make it seem like this is a legitimate prequel to the 1939 movie, and the 1939 movie is a classic, and I just feel like they've taken something that it was a family friendly, wholesome thing that families would sit and do once a year, usually when it was aired on TV, and it was like a tradition. And then they littered that with like the victimhood and that the patriarchy is bad and all this other stuff. And I just don't like that. And I'm allowed to say that I don't like it. People can have meltdowns all they want. I think that they took something that was good and they ruined it. And I have a right to say that I think they ruined it and that I don't like it, because when I grew up, every year I used to watch The Wizard of Oz with my family, and I thought it was a nice story, and it was a nice thing as a kid growing up and having that there, and I think that they ruined it. And they did it in a sneaky, malicious way. That's my thoughts. But again, sometimes people just let things slide. I mean, women for some reason enjoy it, for whatever reason, and it is what it is. But the final thing I'll say is that as opposed to Barbie, The Wizard of Oz was not a exclusively female thing. It used to be something for the whole family. Now they're like, well, now all the, it's more LGBT and women. It's like, yeah, now with this Wicked thing, that's not what it used to be. It used to just be a nice family thing that people used to watch. So, for as far as I'm concerned, it's another one of those things that was like a likable, thing that brings people together, and they again made it divisive and put a bunch of ideologies and politics in it. Yet somehow people want to let it slide. I don't have to let it slide. I can make my comments, and I stand behind what I said. And speaking of all of this, by the way, did you see Wicked?
oh no,
No, don't waste your time
I
with
haven't
it.
had the time or the inclination to to waste on Wicked. I've been trying to get caught up on a couple of other things though, mostly some TV that I had fallen behind on. So yeah,
But
been watching some various things on Netflix. Cobra Kai, really been trying to get caught up over the last few days.
I watched all the episodes of that Cobra Kai thing.
Yeah,
I thought
yep.
that was pretty good.
Yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. I think we've got two episodes left, I think. So yeah, so far I've been enjoying it.
So I watched. Let's see if I can share just so people see a picture of it. I watched that thing.
Oh, the other thing. The other part
Yeah.
of what are they trying to call it? Wickalator?
What?
Glickid?
Oh, Glickid. They're trying to say Glickid. They're trying to make Gladiator and Wicked
Yeah.
be like Barbenheimer, like
Oh,
Barbie and
such a
Oppenheimer. And really, I don't believe that either of these movies are going to be as big. I
no.
will say that I think that if it's true that a lot of these ladies going to see Wicked love it and want to keep watching it and watch it multiple times, maybe that movie is going to make $1 billion. It seems far-fetched, but I think that it could make, maybe if it doesn't hit those expectations, it wouldn't surprise me if it made like 750 million. It's going to make money. I think that it's going to have legs, and I think that women are still going to go see this. Could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. I would prefer that Wicked didn't do well at all, because I think that it sends the wrong message. I don't like what they've done with the property, and I'd love for them to learn a lesson and not make money. But my instinct tells me that that movie is going to make money, Wicked. It's not going to lose money. The one that I think is going to lose money is actually Gladiator, because Gladiator cost 300 and something million to make, at least. And in order to make back the money, they need to, I think, make like $850 million at the worldwide box office minimum.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're
That is a lot of money. I don't see them making it. I just don't see it. I don't know how they're gonna make,
no, I
850 million. I know that they kind of front loaded the thing with a worldwide first, and then they brought it to US, and it's seemingly like within a week or whatever, it looks like it made 200 and something million worldwide. And I think that this is this may be like a big front loaded amount, but every week that we're gonna see now is gonna be a diminishing return, and I don't see it personally. I don't see it getting to 850 million. And beyond all of that, I've actually seen the movie. Have you seen it?
nope, nope. You're saying Wicked. I think Wicked probably same thing. I do not see that carrying on like say a Barbie did. I'm sure it's going to do well, and it had a reasonable budget, and so I think probably I bet it tops out around 750. It's going to do well, and it's going to make a profit, but I don't think it's going to be the phenomenon that Barbie was last year. I just don't think it has the hype. Gladiator, no, I don't think there's a chance in hell it makes its money back. There's just no way. No,
I think
I have not
Gladiator.
seen this. I mean, I'm mildly interested in it, but at the same time, having seen several reviews at this point, especially the short review from oh, not well, I've seen a couple, but it sounds like it's basically the same movie over
Well,
again.
well, that's the thing. There's a few things that are an issue with Gladiator. With the first Gladiator movie, first of all, it had a beginning, a middle, and an ending, and it felt definitive. It felt like you didn't need to see more of it. The
Mhm.
story ends, it comes to a satisfying conclusion, and that's it. Sometimes you have a movie that you feel like you've seen everything you needed to see, you don't need to see anything more, and it's done. And I think that Gladiator 1, like the original movie, absolutely did that. It had also this feel of like an old school Hollywood movie. It had a performance, a very commanding performance from Russell Crowe, who really, really was good in that role. And and I think really delivered what he needed to. Joaquin Phoenix, I thought did a great job as the villain. I think that everything functioned in that movie exactly the way it needed to be, and it was an example for for a movie that is simple yet effective. The story has logical beats. It does everything it needs to do. This movie here, from the get go, from the first moment, just feels like it's just a bunch of people, or at least when it comes to the writing, just like desperate to try to continue this story. Yes, there's set pieces. Yes, it's competently directed by Ridley Scott. I won't say that it isn't. Yes, there's even some decent performances in it. There's a few scenes that maybe kind of, I didn't hate watching, but at the end of the day, it really can't cover up for the fact that the movie doesn't need to exist. And after watching this sequel, it's not like it really changed my mind. I don't know. Do you know also the some of the premise here? I don't think I'm spoiling. I'll try not to give like the final spoilers here, but I will say that there's one point here, and this is clear because I think anybody that's seen any trailer knows this. I think it's pretty clear. Um, the main guy, that Paul Mescal guy, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
he is playing Lucius, which we met in the first movie. Okay,
Mhm.
he's basically the kid that was the kid of Connie Nielsen. I forget her name, if it was like Lucia or I don't know what her name was. Her son was Lucius, I think. And
Yeah.
basically, the thing that happens in the first movie is that Russell Crowe's character, Maximus, has a wife and daughter. And he's initially this great general for Marco or Marcus Aurelius, whatever it is.
Yes.
And then Marcus Aurelius is killed by Commodus or whatever his name is, like
Yep.
the Joaquin Phoenix guy, and basically he's then persecuted, and they kill his wife and kid. And the whole reason for him coming to Rome and doing the whole Colosseum thing, it's his way of getting back and getting his vengeance on the guy that killed his wife and kid. Uh, it's very, it's simple, it's personal, and you understand exactly the motivation of every character and everything that's going on there. Now, here what's happening is this Lucius kid, basically after the events of that movie, his mother, Connie Nielsen, puts him on a horse. Are you with me?
Mhm.
Puts him on a horse, sends him away, and says, "Go, go," like, and sends him on a horse, and he never returns. And the reason she sends him away, because she's worried that now, because he's supposedly the heir to the throne, somebody will kill him. Now, all of this is really weird to me because she was trying to get this whole thing in Rome where these guys take power and Commodus, they get rid of him. So really, this played out pretty much in the way that she wanted. Why would she now want to get rid of this kid? That doesn't make any sense. And to me, at least, it's sort of a strange development. Like immediately, what we didn't see in the movie, like the Gladiator one ends, immediately she's like, I have to get rid of you. It's weird. The other thing is, and this is the part that really, really bothers me, is that they basically retcon that Lucius is actually the son of Maximus.
Yeah.
Now, here is a
Yeah.
big, big issue because in the movie, in Gladiator 1, it is never suggested that he is the father of Lucius. It is suggested that there were some feelings between him and Connie Nielsen, whatever character, Lucia, whatever it is, back in the day. It is not suggested that he is the father. It's never brought up, it's never suggested, and in fact, this is the way I've always read it, he wasn't able to save his son and his wife. So the fact that at the end, he manages to save basically Lucia and her son Lucius, he is sort of doing something, it gives him some kind of closure that he was able to at least save them.
Yes.
So it wasn't his son, but it's still important to him that he was able to do it. So it's sort of a redemption of sorts. I don't really know what to call it. And then he's between the afterlife and not the afterlife, and he sees his his wife and his son, and the movie ends or whatever it is. So in this thing, they actually have flashbacks where they show Russell Crowe in that scene, and like she's basically saying, "Yeah, Lucius was his son." The reason why I call bullshit, are you with me? Sorry about that, but you know
no.
why I call bullshit?
Yeah.
Imagine that guy just saved you and your son, and he's sitting there and he's saying, is Lucius okay? And he's still alive. And you could tell him, yes, he's all right. He's your son. You saved him. Imagine what a good send-off for a guy that's dying. You know what I mean? What a
Mhm.
better send-off to tell him, yes, I want to tell you he's your son. You saved him. You saved your own son. Why not say that to him? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Wouldn't that have been the moment? Wouldn't
Yeah.
that have been the moment to tell him that the truth?
It's such a strange retcon, really. There's just no support for it in the original film. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. And for me, this kind of like weak foundation to begin with is stupid. Putting him on a horse and making him run away is also stupid. None of this makes sense to me. Let's say, okay, you're worried about him. Go both of you on a horse and leave. You put him on a
Mhm.
horse and he leaves and never comes back. That's her son. That the whole first movie she's fighting to keep him alive and whatever. She sends him away like into the abyss. I don't know, man. It doesn't ring true, and it's really weak. The other thing is immediately we start, and this Lucius guy who calls himself something else, this also was like bonkers. Okay, the movie starts off, and he's like with his wife, he's kissing her and things like that. I'm like, okay, this is kind of like the first one. He has his wife, now he's going to battle. Suddenly his wife puts on like a knight's armor thing as well, so they're going out to battle and they battle together. It's like, no, no, I don't think they do. I don't think that in Rome, and whatever year that was, the husband and wife go out and like join the army to like fight. I don't believe it.
No, it's ridiculous.
That's absolute
Yeah.
nonsense. Why would it? No way his wife and like, I'm sorry, I don't care about all the feminism in the world. In ancient Rome, the wife is gonna suddenly suit up and go to the battle? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Now, like after I'm trying to think, maybe I should go like Google it. Were there like women like putting on armor and fighting the Romans? I don't know. That doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, if it happened, it was extremely uncommon.
It was extremely uncommon. And then, like, his wife dies. They don't have, like, a son here, but his wife dies in battle. And then there's this whole thing with, like, Pedro Pascal. And I just see Pedro Pascal and my eyes are already rolling. I mean, you can't put this guy in every single movie. It's just like there's a point where it's like too much Pedro Pascal. I just can't stand it anymore. How much can I watch this guy? So too much Pedro. Uh yeah, I mean too much Pedro. The movie itself, the only thing that I'll say is, and this is again something, if I have to be honest, I don't know that the casting of Denzel Washington would be considered historically accurate, considering the kind of power that he was gaining within the Roman court or whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, at least one thing I can say, Denzel Washington is like the best actor in that whole movie. So if nothing else, at least at least he gives a good performance. It's fun to watch him because he's such a good actor. But honestly, none of this really makes sense. And they try to do everything. The fights almost feel like cartoonish to me. Yeah. There's a part that you probably heard that there's like sharks in the Coliseum. I don't know, a bunch of ridiculous stuff. It's just it was competently made, and there's some scenes that I enjoyed. But this movie has a lot of issues, and most of all, it's unnecessarily basically because of the story.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is not a film that needed a sequel or a prequel. The original Gladiator, for some flaws, had some amazing performances. You got good grief. You got uh, Oliver Reed, Richard Harris, Derek Jacobi was in there, Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix both putting in amazing performances. It was it was of its time, really, in filmmaking history, with the advent of really sort of putting CGI really becoming part of the filmmaking process heavily, in representing different things, and the way that they had the real people out there doing real fights, and just sort of introducing some CGI in there to clean up different shots and things to make it look more real. It was a great story. It was a very classic story, right? Of the revenge and taking down the Mad King and all the stuff that was in there. It was a great story. And like you said, it had a beginning, it had a middle, and it had an end. And
By the way,
by making this second movie, just I'll finish up. To making this second movie essentially just invalidates everything that Maximus did in that film. Like, Rome is still ruined. It's still, it's still broken. There's still a mad emperor. I guess two of them now who are
they're
running
like,
things.
what if there will be two emperors?
Yes,
Yeah,
make it
that's
there's
just wrong.
two crazy emperors, right? So it just like nothing he did was any good. Uh, his, you know, it completely invalidates the first film, and I think that's frustrating.
Well, what I wanted to say is two things. One is Caleb Levine says Boudica was possibly the only noted woman in history to actually take up arms and fight, and she fought against the Romans. She was killed by them too fairly easily.
Yeah.
So I guess there's one example, but I don't think that his wife
Yeah.
is that lady. And the other thing I wanted to say that I just turned out now when I scrolled back that early on in the stream we had a raid from Gooch from Diabolical Souls, and I actually didn't
Oh,
notice
I
it.
missed that. Yeah, I
So
missed
I
that.
missed it, and I wanted to say that Gooch is a swell guy, and he's a good friend of mine, and I really appreciate the fact that he sent people over here. So his channel is Diabolical Souls. He does a lot of cool stuff that he watches, kind of anime and things like that.
Yeah, a lot of animation stuff.
Yeah,
Love that.
re
Love anime.
really cool stuff. If you're into anime and animation, really cool streams where he goes over things like that. So just wanted to give a shout out and also a thank you to him because very nice of him.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I guess, and in addition, if we're already stopping off and talking about some stuff like that, what I often tell you guys that are watching, this show, Rumble, is kind of our home base. And if you're watching on Rumble, I know that some people use an app and they watch whatever is on the app. But sometimes people don't even subscribe; they just watch it on the app. They're not forced to subscribe; they can still watch videos. And I know that some do and watch this show that way. I would recommend, just because Rumble has been doing so many great things, including its CEO Chris Pavlovsky is doing some great things for freedom of speech. If you're watching this right now and you can take a moment and actually subscribe to Rumble, do actually get an account, open an account, and sign up for it. It's free, and then you just do that. And if you've already done that and you feel like maybe liking or commenting or even following this channel, that's always welcome. But regardless, it's always good to just sign up. It's a great platform, and there's a lot of great things happening on Rumble these days. They've signed some cool people. They're expanding stuff when it comes to gaming, doing a lot of stuff in that field. They're also doing stuff in the field of crypto, which is also interesting. I don't know if you've noticed that in the past few days. So they're doing a lot of cool stuff, and definitely I think that we're going to be seeing more interesting developments for Rumble over the next few months and year. But like I said, if you're watching, I highly recommend that you actually open an account and follow. And also, Professor R2 has a channel here on Rumble, and if you happen to feel like following his channel, you should do that as well. He's also on X as Professor R2. There's probably a way to share links, and that's not my specialty. But Professor, if you feel like it, you could share the links. In any case, just wanted to throw all that out there. And then back to what it is that we were sort of discussing and doing. So yeah, I mean, just to sum up this Gladiator movie, it's an unnecessary sequel that nobody needed, and I think that the part of the unnecessary and the part that the first movie was never planned for a sequel, it was planned to be a standalone. That really is what brings this movie down significantly, because you could tell how much juggling they're trying to do to try to justify its own existence. And the only way you can enjoy it is that you just don't think about it too much. You're like, whatever, it's a dumb movie. It's like if you watch Fast and Furious 7, you're not really expecting much. Maybe it's a sort of guilty pleasure. But I think that Gladiator wasn't a movie that needed a Fast and Furious 7. I think that it was a good standalone. And this movie really, like I said, there's nothing that, in my opinion, justifies its existence. But I suppose that there have been times at the movie theater that I've suffered more. It wasn't like a Wicked for me to watch this movie. It just was a situation where couldn't escape the feeling the whole time that it just didn't really need to be made. But that's my personal opinion,
Yeah.
of course.
It's about family. No.
And the final thing that I'll say is Denzel Washington, I think, is probably the best actor in this movie. Definitely his performance stands out, and I think that he did a great job with whatever he was given. I will say that Paul Mescal, he's okay, but he's not Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe, like in his prime, doing this role was just perfect. He was perfect for this role. I'm not saying that every single role that he does I like, or every single thing he does, but generally I think he's a good actor, and this role was just perfect for him. I didn't feel that this was like a star-making turn for Paul Mescal. I thought that he was decent. It was above average, but he wasn't spectacular. And when it comes to the casting, I didn't feel like, it didn't feel as natural. He certainly, you could tell that he went to the gym and got in shape and did whatever he needed to do. It just didn't have the same feeling. It really wanted to be Gladiator 1, but at the end it was Gladiator 2.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
I guess the DnD thing. I don't know if you're an expert in this, but have you seen
No.
weird DnD stuff?
I have seen some of the stuff that's been going on with DnD lately. A lot of the current owners saying some very nasty, unpleasant things about some of the creators, specifically Gary Gygax. So yeah, I've seen a little bit of that.
Maybe you can shed some light on it. I think you're a bigger expert than me on it.
I wouldn't call myself an expert in D&D, but yeah.
You know what? The truth is, when I was growing up, most of my friends didn't play D&D, and there was one group.
Most of my friends didn't either.
One group of friends I had that did play D&D, but for some reason they never wanted me to play with them. That's the truth. I don't know why. I never got the invite. Never wanted me to play like D&D with them. I was like banished from playing D&D with this group of friends of mine that actually were the only ones that played it, and it interested me. They were telling me about it, and I thought it was cool. They're like, "No, but we've already started. We're already doing it." It's like, I guess you can't let somebody in the middle. I don't really even know. Or maybe you can, and they just didn't want me to be in the middle. But I feel like they started on whatever D&D adventure without me, and there was no way for me to join. And I feel like that was my only group of friends that were sort of into it. So I found myself never really participating, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, never didn't have anyone that was really into that that I was around. We there was another one we did do. I think it was Mech Warrior, which was a tabletop game that I played with a friend for a while, but no, I was never really into it at the time. I can share something here. Come on, share.
Do it.
All right, so this is a story. This is from Fandom Pulse.
They've been doing some good job.
Yeah, well,
good
this
job.
is the newsletter that John F. Trent moved over to help
Right.
with.
John F. Trent and John De La Rose, I think,
Yes.
are working on it, and
So this
they've
is
been
their
doing a good
Substack.
job. Just a
Yeah, this
shout
is
out. They're
Substack. So yeah,
doing a good job.
it's great. You should follow if you're got an account on Substack. You should at least follow them if you're not gonna actually pay for the newsletter. But they've got some really interesting stuff. So specifically, this was calling out Elon Musk, having seen some of this stuff that was recently coming out by their company. Sort of trashing Gary Gygax and saying some nasty stuff. So this is not the first thing that's happened. I know with Dungeons and Dragons in recent memory, yeah, you probably had seen some of this newer stuff where they updated some things to make it look like various different characters. It's almost like the Rings of Power thing, where it's, oh, you look, orcs have families too. It's really, really terrible stuff. But they have been saying a few different things, specifically talking about, you can see here, there's a quote: the cultural appropriation of the original D&D ranges from the bewildering, like naming every 6th level cleric a llama, to the staggering gods, demigods, and heroes not reprinted in this book, includes game statistics for sacred figures revered by more than 1 billion people around the world. Were players expected to fight Vishnu for one of the principal deities of Hinduism, kill him, and loot his +3 sword of demon slaying? Right? I mean, again, presentism, right? Just coming back and saying these nasty things. But there's a post here that they show from Grums, talking about some of the slander, some of the stuff that had been said in these original things, and this is what Elon Musk had replied,
and which was a
to,
really
right?
great moment that Elon Musk actually weighed on Grums's thing. That's wacky.
Yeah. And again, they're trashing us. He was a genius, right? He's saying, what is wrong with you? Why do you have to go in and do this? So if you actually do take a look at these original posts here, some of the stuff that they have to say,
like misogyny and all this weird
oh yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Oh, slavery appears in the original
Slavery and
D&D,
misogyny.
not as a human tragedy, but that devastated generations over centuries, but as a simple commercial transaction. Well, I've got news for you. Historically, that's what it was. That was life for thousands of years. It was not just in America that slavery
Right,
existed.
right,
It
exactly. I
existed
mean,
for thousands of years in cultures spanning the entire globe, of people who were black, brown, white, yellow, and every color in between. There was slavery. It was part of life for thousands of years in many different cultures. And
also, it doesn't seem like the creators of this were looking to be istophobes. I think also it's important to notice, and again, this is what we keep saying also with all the other stuff. It does tie into all our Aunt Jemima or whatever it is. It basically is whatever happened. When did they invent D&D? What year was it invented in? I think that would be interesting.
It was in the 70s. I think. I don't remember the actual date. It shows Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was 1977, but I don't remember the publishing of the original. It might have been some of the earliest was in like 70 or 71, I think.
So
Yeah.
let's look for a second. Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. I guess the original is 1974. I mean, we are 50 years later. 50 years is a very long time. 50 years is a very, very long time. To try to now, after 50 years, try to judge a person that created a game 50 years ago that has such longevity that until today, people all over the world play it. And to try to say, well, we don't like what he did 50 years ago. is just outrageous.
Well, and it also completely misses the point here that it seems like they just cannot get through their heads. This is not the real world. It's fantasy. You can present other views and other worlds, that groups and societies with different values, right? And those don't have to represent how we think today in the present era, the values that we have today. It's a it's a different world. It's a fantasy world, which is one of the reasons that some people, so many people get so furious when you see something like this recent Dragon Age game, or some other stuff that's coming down the pike, that where it's this fantasy story, it's this fantasy thing, but we've got to insert all this present day crap in there with pronouns and people introducing themselves. Hi, my name is Gorgax, and I'm bisexual, and my pronouns are she, them, or whatever. Like, that doesn't take us to a fantasy world. We're not exploring some different world with different things. You're shoving all of this modern day stuff down our throats, and that's why people are so furious by all of this stuff. It's just ridiculous. And so, yeah, going back, oh, D&D is so misogynist because it presents a fantasy world where women aren't as powerful as men, and uh you know it's just so ridiculous. It's so stupid to just harp on this kind of things. Yeah. Empress in him. Yeah, great. Neurodivergent orcs. Yeah, I'm certain that's going to be part of D&D going forward.
Well, there's something that I think his daughter actually wrote. Did you see this?
Yes, I did. That's
I'm gonna pull it up.
unfortunate. Yeah. Adam Gray says dungeons are wheelchair accessible now. Yes, actually they are. Yeah. You have to have characters who can be disabled and in wheelchairs, but can still somehow get around creepy dungeons and explore with you.
So this is the daughter of the guy that they said was an istophobe that created D&D. So she says, Heidi Gygax Garland says, regarding the post by Ben Riggs, blah, 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 I cannot verify, blah, blah, blah. Hold on. As for my perspective, I do not believe my father was racist or misogynistic. Was he sexist? He was born in 1938 to a father born in the 1880s and a mother born in 1906. He was raised in a traditional Anglo-Saxon Protestant family with traditional biblical family values, where the male was the head of the household. In my opinion, yes, this is sexist and doesn't hold up to our more enlightened standards today, yet he was a loving father and husband who valued all of his children and his wife. All three of his daughters played D&D with him at some point, but I happen to be the only one who still plays. In short, he wasn't perfect, but he was far from all the negative accusations that are resurfacing, and I'm extremely proud as a strong and independent female to have E. Gary Gygax as my father and my family legacy. I understand what she's saying. I don't even think she should have said that he's even sexist. I mean, again, he was born in 1938. To try to apply 2024 ideologies to a guy that was born in 1938 is stupid. I don't think she even needed to give an inch here. But I think the fact that she said that he used to play with them and that he was supportive of women and all that and his daughters, I think that sounded nice. I don't know what they want from the guy. I hate these legacies that are being just destroyed of people just so they can push this weird propaganda that they push now. Whether you and I played a lot of D&D or not, that is undeniably D&D is big. It's something that he came up with, and it became something like a worldwide phenomena. And to a lot of people, it means a lot. And there's no reason to just take a guy that was born in 1938 and start, pasting labels on him. It's also the same thing that, after the whole 2020 Summer of Love, the BLM stuff, all that stuff, you saw that like there were certain places where they wanted to remove statues. Sometimes they want to remove Thomas Jefferson because he had an affair with a slave or something. I don't know what. It's like, dude, what are we now removing people from hundreds of years ago? It's like we can't erase history and make people from hundreds of years ago act like they're in 2024. The very idea of this is stupid. And erasing all of this and pretending that nothing happened. I mean, how could you, on one hand, want people to acknowledge what a quote unquote victim you are, and on the other hand, you want to delete the victim from the history? It's just some weird paradox to me.
Well, they want to erase history so that we can't learn from history and we can just accept whatever it is that they tell us history was. And it's, again, presentism, just completely brainwashing people so that they don't recognize that, life was not always as it is today. People did not always have the same views we did today. And not taking the time to have a nuanced understanding of history, recognizing how people lived in different times, the influences that were there, and how we've managed to improve over time. I think that's a part of how you get to morons who will claim to your face without even the slightest sense of irony that we live in a country that is more racist today than it was in the 1950s or the 1920s or whatever, that somehow racism is worse today, and that the African American population, the black population, is worse off today than it was, 70 years ago, 80 years ago. It's an absurd claim on its face if you spend even a moment looking into history, right? And I'm not saying everything's perfect for, for everyone, black skin, brown skin, whatever. It's most certainly not. Racism is real. There are assholes out there. I've met them. Okay. I've even worked for them in the past. There are assholes out there, and there are people who genuinely, for whatever reason, believe that, that this person of this color and this person of that color are not the same, that inherently there is something wrong with them because they're not white, right? That there are assholes out there, but it's not most of us. And no, it's not systemic either. Okay.
And I think that a good way to finalize everything we've been discussing is this avowed thing. Are you on top
Oh
of
my
that? That there's some
yes.
kind of guy that doesn't like the dev doesn't like white people or something like that.
Oh boy, there's been a number of different things that have come out about Avowed. So first, I do know that early on there were some people that were looking at some of the early previews of the video game, and setting up your character and everything at the start of the video game. You could not you couldn't see that as part of like the previews, or the people who were getting previews of the game were not allowed to share it or whatever. But eventually, watching enough stuff and seeing enough screens here and there, they discovered that, yeah, there's pronouns squeezed in there. And so that's going to be part of the setup process for your characters at the beginning, is going to include pronouns. Again, in a fantasy world, fantasy game. And so a lot of people were upset by that. I'm looking for a post here about Avowed. Did you have something, Bryce?
Something
About Avowed. Yeah, I'm just
Well, I
looking
mean, I've
for
just been seeing a lot of posts. Usually, this kind of stuff better, but there was
Yeah.
something about. Let me see what I can find.
Well, I'm just because I was looking here and I didn't find anything right away, but
Let me see.
um,
There's a guy, Matt Hansen.
I think I saw Grums talking about this earlier today.
I think I saw between Grums and Smash JT, which always appear in my feed. I like the guys, yeah, but I just
Yeah.
I like them both actually. I just I'm saying, like, I saw them talking about it and they were kind of going back and forth. So I guess
Mhm.
there's a guy called Matt Hansen, and there was something that they shared. That's
Yeah,
why
here we
I was
go.
hoping you knew that, like,
Yeah,
he wrote something about white people that was like
you mentioned
negative.
Smash and JT, so he's got a page. If I can share it. Share, please. There we go. Yeah. There were actually a few different social media posts. I know I read some of them. I was just kind of looking for like sort of one source without having to dig up like 5 different posts. So yeah, Avowed director Matt Hansen. So as I said, sort of the first thing that tipped a lot of people off was that there were going to be some pronouns in here, and then so some people were getting upset discussing this, asking questions. And so yes, he essentially came out and said, hey, yeah, guess what, my game is horribly woke, and yeah, it's going to have pronouns, it's going to have a whole lot of other stuff in it, and all of you chuds can just not buy my game or whatever. That sort of the usual thing. So he's of course on Blue Sky promoting the game from Obsidian Entertainment, which is frustrating because they've made some really good stuff in the past. It's kind of sad. There's been some great games from Obsidian. One of their more recent titles was The Outer Worlds, which was a lot of fun and very tongue-in-cheek humor, and I enjoyed that one a lot. So crazed art director Matt Hansen is employed by Obsidian for 9 years, openly admitted to actually hating gamers. Here's, of course, pictures of their studio, which, oh boy. Okay. Yep. Exactly what you would expect they look like. So here's the post from one of the posts from Matt Hansen. No such thing as just a fan. You're all the whole reason for making this stuff, and it's why we do everything we can to make the game as inclusive as possible. Pissing off the chuds is just a side benefit. Okay. So traditional gamers
I
are
don't know if it's here,
chuds.
but there was something that he's like, I don't like white people. I don't know what he was like writing. He's just such a weirdo.
So yeah, saying some nasty stuff about Elon Musk and about Grumps. I wanted to piss off Elon Musk, essentially saying, I can't believe it actually happened. So he had a goal of pissing off Elon Musk. That's smart. Okay. It's honestly, it's deeply surreal to have the world's richest, shittiest boy whine about something I'm making. I'm frankly giddy. Well, okay, great. Yeah. Give it a whirl if you ain't afeared of the woke mind virus. Well, some of us now have no interest in your game at all, right? I remember you saying something about the hating white people, and I remember seeing this somewhere too, but doesn't appear to be in this article.
I think that it just keeps getting worse every time. Like they put an article, like something else pops up.
This guy's just, it's amazing. Like, dude, do you not get what has happened to these other games that have been coming out that have been crashing and burning? You've got Ubisoft on the verge of a total bankruptcy. They're going to be bought out by Tencent in China. That's it, right?
I found it, by the way. I'll let you say it in a second. I just want to say, he wrote, reminder to black artists out there who are looking for portfolio reviews or job advice. My DMs are open and you will always have my priority. We got too many crusty white dudes in this field. Please let me help you replace me one day. I want to go back to living in the woods. And I guess this is from Asmongold's video, and he highlighted this thing that he was saying.
Yeah.
This guy is looking really dumb and annoying more and more people. And I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a situation that by tomorrow he starts backtracking or apologizing or I don't know what. I can't believe they're just going to let this guy run his mouth like this.
Oh, I think they will. I think they're sure they've got a huge hit on their hands. And like he said, he's going to own the chuds. But we've already seen what's happened with
it usually doesn't work out that
titles.
well. Yeah, it usually doesn't work out well.
They're not owning anybody.
No, I don't think they will.
They're going to have another game on their hands like we've seen with Dustborn. like we've seen with
Concord.
Veilguard, like we saw with Concord. People are going to sniff this stuff out and they're going to say no thank you, and then you're going to have the miserable sales, miserable player counts on Steam, and then your studio goes broke. So that's sad, but if it's not the same Obsidian today that it was 5-6 years ago when they made their previous game, then I guess that makes sense. But
Well, Poker Face says it's not about the money; it's about sending a message. That's like that Joker meme, I think, right?
Yep.
It's funny how that Joker meme keeps getting used over and over again. Like that's like it really reflects so many of these companies and these Hollywood studios. Just it's the perfect meme, really.
Yep. It's very appropriate for a whole lot of stuff that's happened with any number of different companies recently. Yeah, it seems. Oh, we got to push our message, and but the thing is that I'm convinced that people like this guy believe they're still going to make lots of money off of their game. People are going to love it. It's going to be amazing. And guess what? It's going to do such great sales. We're going to own the chuds. We're going to own Elon Musk. He's going to find out exactly, how stupid he is, because we're going to make this game and everyone's going to buy it. And I think people, again, the gaming community has very quickly begun to inoculate itself. They expect to see these things. They sniff it out, and they're organized. The gaming community is organized. You got the different sites, different people working together. You got people like Grums that are out there. You got people like Cabrutus Rambo that are out there, and they're helping keep people informed, and their communities are keeping people informed of this kind of crap creeping into games that they do not want and they will not support. And so, he gets out there. Hey, yeah, we inserted all kinds of wokeness in it. Yeah, and it's like, okay, you literally just cut your sales by 70%, maybe. I mean, there was a video, and I don't remember who shared it. It might have been Smash JT, it might have been Asmongold, one of a guy gamer looking at the previews and everything, and then he's like, "This looks so cool! I'm so excited about this!" Whatever, and then he sees a post on X about the pronouns and all that stuff in the game, and just visibly, like, he sinks, and he's like, "Oh God, no, you didn't do that, you ruined it." Like, just collapsing over the fact that it's woke. Well, never mind. So, time to move on.
I think that happens so much, like even in movies or anything. We're like excited about something, and then
Oh no,
there's that moment of
ruined
disappointment when we realize they ruined another thing. But I
that
guess
is-
before we go, I just want to quickly go over some names that were here. Scribelight is a friend of the channel. I didn't even see him initially; he was the first one, but always nice to see him here. B-Man, Tim Hayes, Robinat Skubla, Eraserhead, Marla Sharandoff, how's it going? Also a friend of the channel. Eraserhead, Jonathan Conroy, Phantom Outsider, Ryo, Eraserhead1, Marla Sharandoff, who said hi, everybody. Hi, Marla. I should have said hi sooner. The Dead Man, thank you for the super chats. You had some really great super chats, and I want to thank you for sending them. Really appreciate it. Phantom Monk, sup dudes. Justin Cook, Evening Price, B-Man in chat. Phantom Outsider, I think I said. Superior Nav, The Dead Man, Tampon Tim. It's so funny that they kind of stuck that name on him, and he just couldn't get rid of it.
Nope.
Couldn't get rid of it. And the thing is, it's based on something that, like, he actually did. So it was really difficult. It was really difficult for him to get away from it, and man, it really stuck. Like he couldn't get rid of it. The Gourd King also, I like the Gourd King. I mean, I like everybody, but you know what I mean. Phantom Monk, the Gourd King, SWD40, Scotty R37, Stephen Mack, Dude Bro Seth. Dude Bro Seth always pops in and does that like Leonardo DiCaprio doing a cheers. I always appreciate that. And here's another one, like I guess it's a Santa or something that he put in here.
Yeah, they got a few seasonal ones in there.
Bodacious Beaver Eater Burls Q, I guess.
I do believe that's a twerking Santa, just so you know.
Ah, okay. That's good to know. Draco's 365, Caleb Levine, Jama Lama. If I forgot somebody, I apologize. I'm trying to go on. CSIS, they, them, 007, asked if this is live. Yes, it is live. It could only be live. I mean, this doesn't seem like something that we'd record in advance and then like we'd upload. No, this is all live. But first of all, always appreciate new people listening. I'm sorry that I didn't see it when she asked. I would have told her it was live, but it is what it is. Kayla Levine, I said. Empress NM, I think I said. Rob Nutscubla, I'm pretty sure. Amy S. Ryo, I think I said a lot of these people. Tim, Zach, Optograph, Tim Hayes, I think I said. Whalem03, always good to see him. Eraserhead, I think I said. Marks for 7, another person we see here occasionally, or even frequently, actually. I think I'm already getting pretty good at getting a lot of the names. Did I forget anybody? Thank you, by the way. It's such a great chat to have that we have like activity on a few different platforms, and it's really great. Poker Race. V8 Honor. Justin Cook, I think I said. The Detoxer. Boosh McFadden. Professor, are you still here?
Yep. Just looking through the
Skyfire 85 that I told you was that
Yep.
Decepticon turned Autobot. DJ Play Nice. Whee! Thanks for being here. DJ Play Nice always has interesting comments to make.
Yes.
Shiv 'em up. I don't know what that means, but okay. That it seems like an interesting character. Peter. We're Adam Gray. My own private ideologue. That's pretty funny, I guess. Instead of Idaho, yeah, Dead House.
Oh,
Phantom Monk, I think I said.
God, I remember seeing that movie. Like, first time I was like, oh, yeah, everyone telling me it's just this great movie, and then I watched it. I'm like, that was the most depressing thing I think I've ever seen.
Expatriatus. Isn't that the one where I think like Keanu Reeves does something there, but there's some depressing thing. I feel like I must have seen it many years ago, but I can't seem to remember why it was depressing, just that it was.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the whole story. It's been forever since I've seen it. Yeah, it's a couple of friends in Portland.
Yeah, I didn't notice that Marla
It's been forever
Shandow
since I've seen it. I need to go back and watch it again.
I barely remember. I remember it was a bummer, but I barely remember. Now, Marla Shandow said, I like Defying Gravity the way it was performed at the Tonys. That's the only song I remember from Wicked. I don't know what to tell you. I really didn't like any of the music in Wicked. I don't know if it's probably the type of thing that on Broadway you're more kind of open-minded to hearing these type of show tunes, but this is, in my opinion, didn't think that these songs stood out. Now, I'm a musician. That doesn't mean that I can say what songs stand out or not, but I can definitely see other, I was talking about the original Wizard of Oz and The Wiz. I think that there's songs there that really stood out. I didn't feel that there was songs standing out to me in the Wicked movie. Nothing that I'm like, well, you know what? I don't really like the movie, but this is a great song. Everything just seemed, generic to me. That's just my opinion, of course. And
Mhm.
if you liked it, it's fine also. We all like different things. I've talked to ladies who liked it, and I respect that. It's just I don't like it, and I have my reasons. Stephen Mack, I think I said Caleb Levine, Bruce McFadden, I'm sure Sunshine 772, Phantom Monk. I don't know. Sunshine 772 says I'm high or something. Okay.
Well, or something.
Or something. And then said, "Never mind, bye." Actually, we appreciate. And we got a super chat from Kitty Bear. It is a sticker with a pile of poop with a face
Yes.
for 99.
Euros.
But it's like
Yeah.
0.99 euro. So let's
Yeah.
just say like a euro. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Very
Thank
nice
you,
of you,
Bear.
Kitty Bear. I appreciate that you thought of us. You thought of poop. You thought of us, and you
Yeah, you know what?
sent us a sticker.
But
No, but I do appreciate it.
it's not just poop. It's a happy poop.
It's a happy poop, so
Yeah.
we made the poop happy. In any case, it's been great to hang out with you all as usual. This is just so fun. We love doing this because there's just such a nice crowd hanging out with us and having these conversations with us, and so many names that we kind of see here on the regular, and it's cool, and we really appreciate it, and we appreciate you guys. Again, before you go, somebody also responded in the comments and not in the live chat, and they were saying that talking about paying money to sign up for Rumble. Rumble doesn't take money from you to sign up. So if you're watching this and you just want to sign up for a Rumble account, you can absolutely sign up. You don't have to pay money. They have another tier where you can pay and then you don't have to see ads, but you can just sign up for Rumble, which if you're watching this on an app and you're enjoying, streams, or whether it's this one or a different stream, highly recommend, opening a free account. And if you already do that and you feel like liking this stream, following this my account, like a Price of Reason account, if you feel like following it, that would be great. Also, Professor R2 here, he has his own account. If you feel like following that, that's also cool. And whatever platform you may be listening, if you haven't already subscribed or liked or followed or whatever it is, you should definitely do it. And I guess, Professor, is there anything you want to plug or talk about before we go?
No, I just humbling to see everybody here. Awesome to get to chat with everybody, and appreciate your being around. Show after show, week after week. For those of you in the United States, happy Thanksgiving as we come up on those holiday later this week. And hey, just watch out for people swinging elbows on Black Friday. Take care of yourself.
For sure. And yeah, and we do this every Tuesday and Thursday. And it's at 11:45 p.m. Eastern. For some new people that I saw were saying, "Oh, it's our first time." And even though this Thursday is going to be Thanksgiving and it's a holiday, I still plan to do something, some kind of maybe a holiday stream. I think that a professor is traveling. I'm not sure.
Yes, I will be out of pocket on Thursday, unfortunately. I'm
It's okay.
pretty
but
sure I'll be at my mother's house where her internet is terrible.
That absolutely is fine. I'm gonna still look to do something just to hang out with people that maybe are looking for kind of a little Thanksgiving after party. And I think that there should also be some interesting guests here. So
Fun.
definitely check in. And if something changes on your end, Professor, you're always welcome to join.
Yep.
But I understand that you have your meal.
Yeah,
and,
probably. I'll probably be able to hang out in the chat, but I wouldn't have anywhere where I could have a mic and again, the internet there's pretty dreadful. So
I understand. Again, it's going to be a more of a offbeat thing that we do, but I guess so. I'll see you all on Thursday, and again, regardless, want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. It's been great hanging out, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.